Whoa, you must have been asleep in the sun for quite a while there. Alliance? A rogue? No runes either? I guess the sun really did get to you. Wake up, Naxxramas is out and the Scarlet Crusade is coming. We got stuff to do, Antijax. It has been a minute since I last played Season of Discovery, and our journey once again begins exactly where we left off, on the coaster STV, enjoying in the sun. Now, what is the first thing I experienced back on Season of Discovery as a horde? Well, attacking low levels of course, and testing out my lava burst, before I am quite literally one-shot, yes one-shot, by a hunter, who also then starts one-shotting every single max level on the boat. Either they are insanely overpowered, or I am now very bad geared. When you swap zones, you respawn, so once again, I'm straight back in this hunter's scope. I try running for my life on the boat, but I'm popping all my cooldowns, or what I can remember I'm supposed to use, and I do land a single flame shock before being obliterated. Maybe I should be a hunter. As I then arrive in Orgrimmar, I'm shocked by how alive the world still is, and also there is people on bug mounts. Well, scarabs, different colours, people have fully sanctified tier 3 gear, and I don't even know what sanctified means. Oh boy, I've missed quite a bit. I am very overwhelmed right now. And even though I've been playing Classic, there's just so much going on in Season of Discovery, I kind of don't know where to start. As I then run around Orgrimmar seeing all this new gear, especially the tier 3 warriors, it's always been a dream of mine to have an orc warrior decked out in this gear. So there's only one thing I'm thinking of. As I take one look at Antijax's Shaman before hitting that log out button, it's time for a new journey, a fresh journey, a challenge that is going from 0 to hero, that you guys also voted for. That's right. A new adventure awaits us, and the class and race and I'm going to be is of course a orc warrior. I don't know how good they are in SOD, I don't really care. This is a 0 to hero of Antijax warrior in Season of Discovery. As I enter the world, I'm once again greeted by my old friend, the Durotar entrance, and we pan into World of Warcraft's strongest, freshest warrior, a level 1 Antijax. But I notice an NPC I've never seen before, and people starting to crowd around him. So as our fresh young warrior joins the world of Azeroth, I head straight to the rune broker, and this guy sells every single freaking rune for 1 copper. That is amazing. For anybody that doesn't know, runes are a thing in Season of Discovery that give you extra effects to your abilities, or give you damn right new abilities. Well, as I'm new and, well, broke, I've got no copper, so I need to kill boars. Discovery's Delight is still here, and this is an XP and gold buff, allowing us to catch up and become a hero a little bit quicker than usual. After murdering the usual suspects, boars, we can turn in some quests and sell some goods. I've got enough copper to buy every single rune now, and I feel like a kid at Christmas not knowing what I'm even going to get. After learning every single rune, I'm pretty excited to get started, but as I don't really own any gear yet, I'm pretty locked to what I can even use immediately, which is also a good thing in hindsight, as it makes it so we're not so overpowered at the start of our journey. The only other downside I can think of to having these runes so early is every time that I get a gear upgrade, I've got to reapply the rune to that piece of gear, so there's going to be a lot of me messing about, figuring out what I want to settle with. With my rune of Quick Strike, an extra rage spender basically, I mean, I'm destroying scorpions, and spending the morning doing the simple things in WoW, collecting cactus apples, slaying the local wildlife, and testing out my abilities. One thing that becomes apparent to me very fast about my warrior is that a lot of my runes are just modifiers. Things like this, it's got an extremely cool effect from sudden death, but I don't have the ability execute yet to even use it. I spend a little bit of time going around bashing peons in the head and getting them back to work like usual, the lazy little shits. I also found out warriors have an extra ability, Meat Hook. Now I thought it may be a rune, but it doesn't seem to be one. When I get a little bit of rage, I try it out and it's literally Death Knight's grip, or Scorpion's Get Over Here from Mortal Kombat. I love it. After taking care of a local task for my orc friends, I'm ready to leave the starting zone. Already at a pretty high level 7 thanks to that XP buff, and with my task done, I once again set off on a journey into Azeroth, as I'm told to go and become the hero I can become. So with Season of Discovery's increased leveling speed, it's really good to complete a chunk of quests and turn them in. Well, that's always a good thing to do anyways. Our next tasks are starting to become a little bit more dangerous. It had us going to Kolkar Crag and defeating the Centaur roaming here and burning down their attack plans. And there's still players all around, so grouping up to tackle these quests is a good thing to do, even if they just go and loot a chest right in front of your face. And once again, I learned something new. The Centaur skin on the floor is a Kodo. And of course, we are once again back at the Echo Isles. Now, this place can be a harsh lesson, even in Season of Discovery, and I'm playing a warrior. that is supposed to be the worst for questing, mainly due to no way of regenerating your health. So even with some extra abilities and modifiers, I'm struggling to take down 2 mobs at once. I'm using a sword and a shield currently too, and it takes me a while, but I start searching tigers for their fur, killing crabs, collecting their eyes and their mucus, and fast approaching that level 10 mark. On the Echo Isles, we have to take down all the trolls that have invaded, and their leader Zalzazane. Carefully pulling one mob at a time means I'm not really in any danger of dying. I eventually do find their leader and fight him, all while going through my runes trying to understand what's available to me and come up with some sort of build, and I'm now using Victory Rush, which will be a lifesaver going forward. And when I kill him, a green axe drops, but it's a one-hander, and I really want to be a two-handed warrior, damn it. I quickly realise that I haven't leveled up my axe skill, and I completely forgot about weapon skills, I won't lie to you, so I bit off more than I can chew, and dying here already would not be very good luck for me now, would it? I make it out on literally 5 HP, and alright, I've got to be a bit more careful. Thank God I'm not on hardcore yet. Anyhow, as I'm fighting trolls on the island, I eventually do die. My first death at level 9, and I forgot how much of a run it is back. I just wanted to showcase that even with every rune and leveling fast, I still find a way to die. But dying is a good thing. I use this in my favour and be lazy. With a beautiful full quest log and a few bars off level 10 and the spec I can choose, I let myself die. In a warrior's fashion, I keep pulling mob after mob, and I stand there like the Spartans did in 300, taking down as many as I can with me. It was 1. I took down 1 with me, before taking res sickness. After turning all of my quests completing Senjin Village, we're level 10 and can choose a spec. I think for leveling at least, I'm going to go for an arms warrior, a two-hander, even though right now I have none. After taking some voodoo potions, I'm drunk and massive. Don't ask. But there is a troll who can give you these weird buffs for like 5 minutes in Senjin Village. Our next pit stop is Razor Hill, just to learn some professions, and I decided once again to go mining and engineering, just because I think it'll help me in PvP. However, this will change, and you'll see why a bit later on in the video. And of course, I learn my warrior abilities and I learn first aid because it's a must-have. Also, special shout out to this quest that sends you all the way back to the Echo Isles to collect raptor eggs that don't even exist. I hate this quest. Moving on, I'll be truthful, I was really struggling for bag space, and I was having to do things like delete items just to have space. It was really annoying. On the plus side, I was also mining a hell of a lot, and I did think of using my 60 shaman to funnel me gold and bags, but how does that make me a 0 to hero? So for this challenge, no help from my main character allowed. After watching a poor shaman get the shit beat out of him by Fizzle and his gang of orcs, I teamed up with him after his corpse run to once again put an end to the goblin shenanigans. And this is when I realised how underpowered I am. This guy and his pet wolves are just walking through countless mobs, while I have to auto attack and bleed them to death. I guess each class is going to be powerful early on depending on their runes. I spent a bit of time smelting all that copper I made earlier into copper bars, and I don't know if it was just because I was blessed, but I found a lot of copper too, and this allowed me to get my engineering up quite quickly as well. While I'm questing, Sam's on it chases me down and wants to fight. He's a hunter. Now I finally can use a rune and it allows me to heal, and I throw a net at him, catching him. Now what this guy doesn't know is I'm a war-hardened PvP veteran, and even if you use a HP pot like this guy does, I will never give up, and I win my first duel on Antijax. As Naxxramas is out, undead are also invading Azeroth, and you can kill them and do quests and get reputation, I think. But right now, I don't know what I'm doing, so I just do one quest here and I leave it at that. So with the introduction into our hero's origin story done and our first encounters in the world, it's time to skip straight to our first dungeon, with Oxhorns and Tums, 2 of my friends. We've all got world buffs, so we're going to go and try and 3-man the dungeon. I can't keep any threat at all off the Balance Druid, they just do too much damage. But I instantly do get a 2-handed sword, so you know what that means. I instantly leave the dungeon and go to the Weapon Master. Now after questing and vendoring all my stuff leveling up, I have around 40 silver. Then after learning all my spells, I'm back to being broke. Toasty, Oxhorn's mage, and you may remember him from my original SOD video, gave me 1 gold in order to go and learn all my weapon skills. Luckily for me, he's also a mage, so he can just port me around to the cities to make this quick. I did say I wanted to be a 2-handed warrior after all, so after a few ports around, we are ready to go. Well, once again that means leveling up our two-handed sword skill. So the dungeon goes to shit really fast. Oxhorn was balanced and he realised that he goes very fast. And well, me and Tums keep pulling as Oxhorn's is nearly at full mana anyway. Tums is nearly full mana too, so when none of these little douches decide to heal me at all and let me die with my world buff, well, I blame them of course because it's always the healer's fault. Tums also dies and this isn't a great start. Anyhow, much later we are going slower but steadier. Oxhorn's also has a tree rune at light level 10, so that's pretty cool. Also, if you know me or you're new to watching me, things never are what they seem. So while Tums is shaming decided to pop his spirit wolves, they've got a mind of their own and we are just stood there thinking, oh shit. And I can just see an army of trogs come running for us. We was terrified. We were screaming to run. There is just hundreds of these little guys running at us. We eventually do make it to safety, but yeah, so far things are not going as planned. Us as a band of heroes eventually do clear through the whole dungeon completely fine. In fact, it was kind of a really fun experience. After this, I just cleaned up handing in the dungeon quests. Once again, thanks to the help of Oxhorn's mage, we can port around to Thunderbluff and turn everything in. This puts us at level 17 already and nearly able to do our first raid. Yep, you heard that right, a raid. So back in Orgrimmar, before we venture out further, I have to level up my engineering now. There is a method to my madness. Now you're probably wondering, how do I have 5 gold? Well, I just literally said out loud, does anyone have 1 gold for spells? And a kind folk traded me 5 gold. Do I condone begging in World of Warcraft? No. Will I do it and get ahead? Absolutely. After all, a hero is the end goal. So with that, I bought some very expensive materials. This allows me to now craft a helmet, which means I can then put a rune on my helmet slot already at level 17, making me even more powerful. See, I have a strategic plan to everything. I'm joking, I'll wing it most of the time, but it pays off in the end. After realising I'm massively now out leveling my class quests and I still don't have defensive stance, I went and slain some thunder lizards. Thankfully, I'm massively over leveled, so it's really easy. Also realising that because of how fast dungeons level you up, questing in the Barrens currently may not be worth it. Instead, we opted for a different approach, to focus on the pre-quest for Walling Caverns, and to do that as our next dungeon. So that's what we went and did, Walling Caverns. I forgot Warlocks was even tanks in this version, and naturally they're super strong. And so is the other 2 balanced druids we have, along with a resto druid. And well, you've got little old warrior me. Now dungeons are pretty easy in Season of Discovery, especially at lower levels, but I don't get any gear. There is one point I do want to highlight about this dungeon, and it's what these druids do. It's a mechanic called Druid Slumber, a 15-second sleep that can't be dispelled by anyone in my group. Now being put to sleep once is fine, but it happens again and again. I'm not even kidding when I tell you I was asleep around 10 to 20 times this run, maybe even more. It was always me, so if anybody knows why that happened, please let me know in the comments so I never have to experience it again. Anyways, the rest of the run was pretty relaxing apart from being slept. We just blasted everything and did a couple of quests. No, not you Deviant Hide, screw you. And we went to Thunderbluff to acquire a new weapon. What is this weapon, you may ask? It's a caster staff. So with the spellcasting staff in hand and some cloth shoulders, we moved to Shadowfang Keep, a dungeon on the other side of Azeroth. And now we have a mage healer this time, and a melee hunter. Crazy world we live in, I know. Now I don't have a shield for tanking, but the mage is twinked out, and I'm leveling up my staff skill, so nobody really cares. As a hunter tells us, things are melting like butter. I ended up getting a sword, the butcher's slicer, and a shield, so now I'm tanking in defensive stance. I just need to level up my skill once more, but it's fine, no problems, no deaths, great damage. Then, after killing Baron Silverdare, a ring drops too, which me and the hunter need. 1, it's a fantastic ring, and 2, it means we can now use a ring rune, and I win it. Now I did another silly thing here, I forgot to hit record, because we kicked the warlock from the group because he was flaming me so hard. I'm not even kidding, he was a right douche, and for no reason too, we were just flying. He just wasn't happy with my tanking. So we decided to foreman the rest of the dungeon. In fact, we wanted to do this dungeon a few times, and I didn't get to show it, but I can now. So as Naxxramas is out, there's special bosses in dungeons with undeads in. This one is called Sever. Now the ones with a keen eye may notice I'm not using that staff anymore, a one-hander and shield, but a two-handed axe. And you'd be correct. This boss always fears us, and he always kills Oxhorns. It happens every time without fail. But what does this boss drop? An epic freaking axe. Yes, I have an epic axe with 20 strength, and it does fantastic damage. God, I love this game. But he also drops these legs, which are insane for both the mage and Oxhorns. While doing this to Sever every time, we actually end up hitting level 25 here, which means we're ready to raid, and already nearly halfway to 60. But I know, we still got a bit to go. Eventually, the hunter left us too, leaving us just with 3 people again. But with an epic axe, a twinked out mage healer, and well, a spellcasting cow, we have no issues clearing it. Just took a tad bit longer. Oxhorn's now learnt to swap into bear form when he gets aggro on fear, but he messes up trying to heal himself and he dies for the 4th or 5th time now. But from his death does come the abomination leggings. Both him and the mage do need them, so I wish them both good luck. But the mage says,
"Bro, I pass for all your deaths."
And well, at least that was nice of him. So one Shadowfang keep run and me and Oxhorns leave feeling a little bit more epic. As we make our way to the raid taking in the music of Ashen Vale, we come across our first PvP encounter. It's a poor level 21 Night Elf priest, and with our world buffs and epics, we savagely murder her. It's just the way of the world of Warcraft. If it's red, it's dead. I also attack an NPC that I usually let live, and I didn't realise this, but I got me and Oxhorns a dishonourable kill. Oopsie. I think that may be my first one ever. I couldn't find a raid group for a while, so I bought some shoulder pads off the auction house to give us a bit more of that warrior feel. And for our gear, I must say we're slowly looking fine. I haven't really talked about sod spells and changes for warriors yet either, as honestly, none are important yet, at least for a warrior. There's passives like 25% more rage, which is great and all, and more rend damage. I will come back to these later on. My friend Oxhorn tells me that skinning has made him an absolute fortune. So while I'm waiting for people to come online to raid, I run around Juratar slaughtering every low level animal I can to farm light leather and see if this will give me the gold that I need. Anyhow, a bit later on it is time to raid. Now we've got Oxhorn on his 60 mage Toasty to help out. I managed to fill a group nearly to full so people can benefit from the XP you get from killing bosses here. And I must say it felt nice once again going back to this raid of Blackfathom Deeps. So with a 60 mage we are thinking this should be pretty easy, right? Maybe get some XP, get some loot, and experience these leveling raids for the second time around. The first boss is a water elemental, and tactics are pretty simple. Don't stand in AoE, stuff that's very obvious. Toasty is using world buffs and potions, so I'm expecting a nice, smooth, fast run. Wait, why is our mage Toasty dead already? We have no idea. But now that leaves a couple of low levels to take down Baron. Thankfully Toasty has done enough damage already where the boss just kind of melts to the rest of us, but my damage is awful. I'm basically bottom, even with my weapon. He drops a very good necklace for me and a quest item that I think is unique to the Horde side too. We found out the reason Toasty died too is because of this mage ability in Season of Discovery called Balefire Bolt, where once you cast it too many times, it kills you. But this has been changed since the last time we played, so he completely underestimated the amount of times he could and died. The next boss is a giant turtle that we pull instantly while our mage has no mana and somebody ninja pulled. Well, we've all got the ads, so all we need to do is go to town on him now. There's balls everywhere and I can't remember if they're bad, but they probably are. He then does an Aqua Shell ability that kills our 60 mage once again, but all of us low levels are alive, but the boss has still got a lot of health left. So I take it upon myself to try and tank it and be the warrior my group needs. Turns out having a 60 doesn't really mean much for us, as between me and the hunter pet, we managed to stabilize very well and bring down the massive turtle, getting more XP and continuing. He also drops a very good cape with 6 strength, and as I'm really the only strength user, it's definitely mine. Third boss, Lady Savarus, is a boss Toasty actually doesn't die on. Shock horror, I know. He drops a very good helmet for his druid, but as he's helping me out on his max level, I'm going to help him out on my max level later, and I get myself some very good hands here too. So far not a bad run. I get a few quests in here as well as we carry on, and the next boss, oh how could I ever forget the next boss, it's a Murloc. This Murloc has a pretty cool mechanic. You gotta burn him down once, then when he reaches 0 he starts healing to full, and he summons all these little Murlocs that does a lot of damage if you get hit, so you kinda gotta dance around them. I remember that I found a spot that usually doesn't get you hit, but I do fail it a few times. Now if you die while killing these bosses, you receive no XP at all, so staying alive is the aim of the game. We managed to navigate through this boss alive, level up, and he drops a trinket that summons a Murgle, and an axe that would have been good if I didn't have an epic, but a very good tier set piece with plus defense. A lot of strength and agility. The 2 set also gives me 12 attack power, so it'd be nice to see another item, but who knows. Straight after this is in the halls you fight Lorgus Jet and his totems of pain. As long as you kill the totems, it's a very easy fight, and bam, he drops my tier head too. So that's 2 set acquired immediately. Now we've got plus 12 attack power, a lot of defense, agility, strength and stamina, with an epic axe. Even someone said,
Bro, what is this warrior loot bias?
Now, Toasty did say to me before we started, if an epic staff drops, this one, he's gonna lose his shit. And as we approach the second to last boss, this guy's the one that can drop it. Now, on my first run of this raid back on my shaman, the staff did drop, but I didn't win it. This time, I'm kind of hoping it doesn't drop, for Toasty's sake. Kicking and interrupting him is a must, but once again, someone ninja pulls before we can get mana and go. Damage is flying anyways, and we haven't really had any issues this raid, but he does target me with a first debuff, and thanks to me popping Blood Fury, my healing taken is reduced, but I do survive it. Eventually, he hits his last phase where he can't be kicked and you just gotta kill him before he kills you. Some people start dying, and I died just before he dies, so I get no XP, but as he falls, look at that, the epic freaking staff again. Now, I didn't have it recorded, but Toasty is going mental at me on Discord. He really wasn't happy, as the amount of loot for his druid this run would have been great for him, but what can I say, it's not my fault. Anyway, we head to Akuma, the last boss of the raid, and I probably butchered his name. Now, this is the boss you just stand behind and beat down on him, and you don't get his breath on you. The joys of making and leading a pug is being able to HR or hard reserve an item for yourself. That's what I did. It's a quest item, the perfect Blackfathom pill, that I award to myself because I did HR it. I also get some extremely good blue boots, so I have a lot of very good items in here, but the main thing I want is a trinket from the quest. We got a couple of levels too, we're level 27, nearly 28, some amazing gear, tier, cape, hands, boots, we saw the epic staff drop. God, that was a blessed run, wasn't it? And this for sure will help me going into the next part. Anyway, I still had one quest left to finish, and that was just collecting some sapphires. Everybody left me, so it just had me outside the dungeon taking on elite solo. Now, with my gear and now having access to execute, it means my damage is slowly getting better. I'm starting to hit hard, and the procs I once got that did nothing now actually do things. So my warrior is starting to grow in power. Once I did this quest, I headed back to the little sea town in Ashenvale to turn in the sapphire quest hitting level 28. But little did I know there's another flipping raid quest that I didn't get around to doing. But I did get a pretty sick one-handed, a weapon and a lot of XP. The final thing to do was then to head to Thunderbluff to turn in the quest for the pearl. I noticed I had mail too hidden behind my add-on butter, and that's from the auction house, so I'm wondering if the leather I put on earlier sold, and yes it did. I sold about 40 to 60 light leather, which is very easily to farm, and in total I went from 5 gold to 20. I made 15 gold just from selling a few stacks of light leather that is very easily farmable. Alright, skinning is very profitable. I've got no idea why, so if you play SOD and you know, please do let me know. We turn in the Pearl quest and obtain a very strong trinket, giving us an extra 18 attack power and some shadow resistance as well. And now we're looking mighty strong, I must say. And we get a world buff from doing that. I forgot all about these extra things in SOD and I truly am enjoying myself. With all that gold made from skinning, before I decided to head off, there was a few more things I truly wanted to do. One was to make as much gold as I can from skinning and get my skill to be appropriate to my level. So I headed to the barrens and slaughtered all the lions and wildlife I could. This is where I came across some weird crystal things surrounded by bugs and Anubises. I just attacked one to see if they give anything, and I don't know if this is a SOD thing, but I've never seen this before in my life. It seems like low levels are grouping up for them too. So when I kill one, they drop me 2 greens and 3 health potions. So maybe they're really good for items when you level in? Who knows, but I'm too high of a level for these anyway. Also, just to point out that I thought I got every rune on my level 60 shaman, and I went to the rune broker just to double check that I was correct, and I actually lied. I missed the rune. Please don't crucify me. I never will forgive myself. I quickly boosted Toasty's Druid Oxhorn on my shaman, and of course none of the stuff he wanted dropped, but very good gear for my warrior did. And naturally the staff didn't drop for him either. Ah well, what can you do? Now this is where I originally planned on ending this video, but a few more things happened and I want to showcase you a little bit more of my journey in SOD. Now as I'm a bit over leveled, Hillsbrad Foothills isn't the best place to go, as some mobs are great to me, but I wanted the chance for PvP encounters, so I figured I'd go there and quest anyways. With my current gear and level, I'm smashing my way through quests, and as I always like to say, it was just a super cozy morning questing. I even found my way back to the Knolls, that gave my shaman so much trouble way back when, and nostalgia was just hitting me. Also, once again, I slaughtered dwarf after dwarf in Zul'Gurub, looking for a lost sword. Now thanks to my world buff, I'm doing okay at soloing these elites, but I did end up teaming up with a rogue in the area too, and by teaming up, I eventually found the sword that I was looking for. I found one of my nemesis, one of my most hated creatures in World of Warcraft, a gnome mage. If you see my classic series, you would understand how much I despise these things. He's level 36 and I'm only 29, I'm massively underleveled, not to mention the fact I'm a warrior versus a mage, but I attack him anyways, cause if it's red it's dead, getting up my bleed which is going to do passive damage, but the distance distance he creates with Blink means he just annihilates my HP with a couple of frost attacks and arcane missiles. But when I do connect, all that gear I've just got from raiding makes it so I do some serious damage to him. I proc an execute which does insane damage, then I proc another to take out the trash and end this poor gnome mage's life. I quickly realised how powerful I was becoming with Cleave and Retaliation. I will pull lots of human farters and slaughter them, as was requested, and thanks to Victory Rush, I become a true warrior, and I was starting to have a blast now my toolkit was finally opening up a little bit to me. While doing these quests, me and Oxhorn got way too confident in a mine too, and we pulled practically everything. The cow thought it would be a wise idea to split up to look for the mob, but that's never a good idea if you've not seen any movies, so we get beat up on. The last step was hitting level 30 on our way to Scarlet Monastery, where plenty of XP and gear awaits our young warrior. Big pulls, big damage, we're blasting our way through this dungeon, and we're almost hitting level 31 too. We found a rare mob called the Fallen Champion in our first run. I thought he may drop some good stuff for me, but he actually drops an insane helmet for Oxhorns. Now the reason I'm showing you the graveyard is this boss, Scorn. It comes at you as you try to leave the dungeon, and just like Shadowfang Keep and Severe, he's a rare boss that spawns only during Naxxramas. As he dies, he one-shots the other warrior with a slap, and then we bring him down and he drops an epic spellcasting weapon. So Oxhorns is getting mad gear. I then go to his loot table to see what he does drop, and he drops an epic necklace and some mail hands with an insane amount of attack power. So we know what we need to do now. We ran this dungeon plenty of times, seeing quite a few weapons and even seeing the necklace. This boss does some lich slap thing that practically one-shots you, and thanks to Oxhorn being basically the only caster in the group, he got super decked out in epics, so now he definitely wasn't feeling too bad about the weapon from the raid. I lost count on how many times we ran this place, but it just never dropped them mail hands. So I hearthstone and I begin a new journey, one to get a certain weapon, and with level 40 in our sights and another raid with epics and PvP to come, well, I auto swam into the ocean by accident and drowned as I headed to a certain little island. But first, I decided it's time to start a few quests in the jungle, the best zone in World of Warcraft in my opinion, for its low level PvP and its quests, along with its brilliant atmosphere, its Stranglethorn Vale. I'm sort of under leveled a tad bit for this area, but I can do a few starting quests and I have this world buff too, increasing my damage output by a lot, allowing me to take on even orange level dinosaurs to me, and taking on multiple at that. I'm starting to get strong.
Special delivery.
After delivering a skinning knife to Oxhorns like an Amazon delivery driver, then starting up the quest which requires you to kill beasts in the jungle, I realised that not having my skinning profession at a high enough level right now is not a good thing, especially with how many beasts I'm going to have to slay. So I head on over to Dustwood to go and farm some leather and get that skinning level up. On my way, I encountered Dverf. Saying that out loud is pretty funny to me for some reason, and I start attacking him as he's busy doing something. He then hits me with a gouge as I've got a bleed on him, and I forgot that I have meat hook as an ability, so he manages to re-stealth and open on me, then starts doing absolutely insane damage to me as he brings me really low, but I resist a kidney shot from him, and I hit him with one attack, bringing him very low too, but I do die, losing my world buff to Dverf. I hate dwarves and gnomes. I then head to the Rotting Orchard. This is a place full of worgen, or werewolves, whichever you want to call them, that are skinnable to me. This provides me with an abundance of skill points and leather, which is worth an absolute fortune on the auction house, so it's a fantastic place. However, I am in Alliance territory, but as I'm a bit of a higher level, I think I can hold my own here, unless it's Dverf. As I'm skinning, I notice commotion going on, and it's another dwarf called Warever. He's level 30, so it's a fair fight, and I charge in and immediately start trying to slay the wee man. He's panicking with a bloodthirsty orc and werewolves beating down on him, and the little guy does fall. Don't feel bad for him, he deserves it. Now I can skin the animals in STV or Stranglethorn Vale. That's where I head back to, the jungle, to do some quests that want us to master the wildlife here by killing 10 of each animal. Now while I'm peacefully questing, the scumbag alliance attack me and kill me. It's not all sunshine and rainbows for me, but I make sure that they fall with me, and I get help from my horde comrades. Me and Oxhorn then just had a very peaceful time questing. It's pretty easy for a warrior and a druid to duo quest, especially when one is a powerful balanced druid and can take down multiple mobs with just one spellcast. Now in Season of Discovery, what's different to the original classic is the zone-wide events that happen. In Stranglethorn Vale, that's called Blood Moon, and it's a PvP event that makes you hostile to even your own faction. Why am I telling you this? Because I am logged outside in a city, so when I log back on after a few minutes, the guards start to beat the crap out of me, and I just got a world buff too. But as it's Blood Moon for 5 more minutes, I know Oxhorns is online. Should I try and kill him? Of course I'm going to. I get off the charge on him as he then attacks me back. He nature grass roots me, but with all the creatures he's pulling with his Starfall attack and the damage he's doing, I'm about to die. I get off a beautiful critical hit to kill him, but I die in the process too, and I tell him, gotcha. Blood Moon ends, but the PvP doesn't stop there. Meet these two lovely human mages. Not gnomes, shock horror I know. Now I already have a little bit of history with these mages. I've just been killing them 1v1, but it looks like they're out for revenge now. So me and Oxhorns go for the 2v2 fight and we attack them. Our damage combined is no match for Nice Melons and Bar the Mage. But oh look, they've brought back up a skull level rogue. We are so in trouble. Alright, maybe that was just a fluke and he was passing by. So after a pretty long corpse run back, we respawn and bam. Oxhorns is instantly dead, and so am I. Alright, this guy is definitely the mage's friends. What have we done? We start talking, deciding on if we're going to try and bring down a mage with us, but it's just not happening. Corpse run after corpse run, but we never give up. We wait for the mages to start separating before we devise a plan. We fail miserably every time, so then we hatch a new plan to run the hell away. Now, I'm going to include my audio a little bit here. I've tried to mess with the levels because mine was a bit quiet, but I'm going to let you listen into what happened.
Nah, you can fuck off, I'm off.
Fade away and I'm going.
Oh shit, they saw. I'm sprinting! I'm sprinting! The rogue's about. No!
Nice Melons. The mages are staying for me. No, the rogues. They've lost you.
I'm off. I'm out. Peace.
No! I need your help.
No, I can't fucking help.
The corpse can't be. I need back. What you need to do is you need to come back from a distance and dance. No, but you'll get closer. I am so far away. I am screwed. You need to respawn. You need to do a slash dance. Right,
I am.
I see it. Wait, the rogue's
He's talking to me! Oh shit, he has lost me!
That was my time. That was my chance. I'm gone. I'm fucking running.
The rogue's after me! No!
You've done your job. I'm gone.
No! Fuck!
I'm running. I fucking got my out there. I'm gone. I'm running.
Oh! I did my duty for king and country. Yeah, Oxhorns the bear danced his way to death to save my soul. In fact, he was ganked over and over by the rogue, making it back to town. But he did kill the mage once too. Being the absolute warrior I am, I let him die over and over and just continued questing. I am no match for that human rogue in my state. I decided to leave the jungle. Most of the quests here are starting to slowly creep up in level, and we need to catch up. So I head back to Ratchet where I collect my mail, and oh my freaking lord, look how much gold I've just made. Double what I had. I'm up to nearly 100 gold before I'm even level 40. So that should be mount acquired. And what do you see here? Yeah, it's a gnome. Would you be very surprised if this little shit decides to attack me? Because I'm certainly not. They're evil and they all must be purged. One of the reasons I'm also back in our home city of Orgrimmar is to finally purchase some bags, as I'm making pretty solid gold now from skinning. It's about time we upgrade our storage because quite frankly I'm struggling pretty bad. But not anymore. The next stop after this was back to Scarlet Monastery and doing some dungeons to get some quick XP and to go back to questing. As we're resetting these, there's a lot of alliance about doing their own dungeons it seems, or buying boosts. I'm not one to let them live, especially a lonely gnome. So we pounce on him before I see yet another gnome stood outside. They've all just got to die. Before their booster then comes out, pissed off, and we run into the dungeon. Oxon then has to go, so I decide to call it a night too. The very next morning I'm at a very deserted place, the Shimmering Flats, where the wildlife struggles to survive and the sun beams down on you. I then also see what I imagine is two hunter bots, but the bots attack me for some weird reason. I didn't know bots ever did this. Now I didn't get the jump on the bot, and it's doing fantastic damage, but then the second bot joins in and I die to two bots. Don't ever speak of this again. Okay, so there is negatives and there's pluses to these bots. The negatives are they're taking my quest mobs. The pluses are they leave an army of corpses wherever they go. And that means a hell of a lot of skinning, so a lot of gold. But I get sidetracked so easily. I mean, just look at how many turtles there are. At nearly level 37, I once again go for a pit stop at Orgrimmar just to sell the mountain of leather I have and to do some character maintenance. Somewhere in between here, I did get them epic gloves, but the footage seems to have just disappeared from my hard drive, so let me recreate it for you. In paint. Oh wow, the epic gloves drop, finally! And I'm the only one that needs. Yay, I win them with a 100 roll. Something like that. So, we've grown in power. Quite a bit of time heading back and forth to the Scarlet Monastery until I was right level for the armory. Now the armory is a one boss dungeon, and why do I want this? Well, it drops some sweet warrior loot, and that's about it. So what do I do when making a party? I invite another warrior.
Yeah, I'm very smart when it comes to these sort of things. Oh well, I did tell everybody we can do a few runs of this for XP and loot. The last boss, Herod, drops a helmet, but I don't win the item, the warrior does, and he leaves instantly because of course he does. I just keep spamming out armory after armory, taking down Herod over and over, getting myself a nice mail shoulder with 6 strength and a lot of stamina too, giving me that warrior feeling, and also getting a boatload of XP as well. Nearly hitting that sweet level 40 where we can enter yet another raid, but a lot more on this soon. The next run we get ourselves a helmet. That's 1% critical strike chance and 13 strength. While I do lose my 12 attack power bonus, I feel like 1% crit is 1% crit, and I look cool, so there's that. You can see me equipping and unequipping, figuring out the stats and if I'm being stupid. I did do this dungeon quite a few times as well in search of a weapon. It's kind of a famous weapon to melee people, and that's this weapon, Ravager. I'm still using that level 20 axe, so nearly 20 levels higher. I definitely need an upgrade now, but Herod doesn't drop it. Ever. With level 40 fast approaching us, it's time to leave behind the dungeons and get that final level we need. With mountains of gold and leather still to be sold, I was feeling fantastic, but I do need a new weapon desperately. So with all my gold, I decided to try and go buy some items from the auction house, which should help me in a quest, but they're really expensive as hell. So after purchasing what I need, I ended up spending 50 gold on them, just on materials, which is absolutely insane. But there is a reason I just bought all these items. Then after going to the warrior trainer and learning some spells, I'm down to 70 gold already. So as soon as I make gold in this game, I just lose it. After turning in a quest to kill all of the Scarlet Monastery bosses, I receive an item, a one-handed sword called the Sword of Omen. It actually looks pretty strong. This will be relevant really soon. So the items I just bought need me to collect some things in Stranglethorn Vale. So that's where I went back to. It's yet another Blood Moon event, and I teamed up with a full party of people. Here we farm an insane amount of blood, and I'll tell you what the blood's for in a few minutes. We walk around pulling every single troll we can, and luckily for me the quest I need is here too. In fact, several quests are, so I'm flying through the level, collecting blood, and getting a bucket load of XP as well. What more can I ask for? After Blood Moon ends, I'm still a couple items short from completing a quest, so I just need to carry on grinding out trolls. And seeing a lion's scum makes me happy, as I can just purge them from the land. I must say my damage is starting to feel very nice, even on the lower levels. So the blood I've been referring to and collecting is used at these altars, where you receive copper blood coins per blood. Once you have 100, you can use a spell called Blood Alchemy to turn them into 1 silver blood coin, which you can then use to purchase items. However, as I'm a warrior, I'd need 15 silvers just to buy a weapon. And that's just not farmable for me right now. PvP is a common thing in the jungles, as I encounter a fellow young warrior called Isbil. But like how the Warcraft series started, it's man versus orc. And while it's a very close battle, with both warriors activating retaliation, I come off as the strongest, and I do have a level increase on him. Isbil, not knowing when to be defeated, spawns right next to me ready for round 2, but he delays in his ambush, allowing me time to get off of fear. Thanks to me then talenting into improved hamstring, I get the snare on him, meaning he can't move while he's bleeding down. I also am healing at this time with Enraged Regen. With a single charge stun, I once again put down this warrior. He was a worthy challenger, but if it's red, it's dead. And after a little more grinding on some raptors, we hit that sweet level 40. And we can get a new ability, Immortal Strike too. With not many levels to go now to the max, this opens up yet another raid that I definitely want to do. But first, as we're level 40, there's one thing we gotta do first, and that is get ourselves a mount. I forgot that the Season of Discovery prices are slightly cheaper, but with our skinning business, gold isn't an issue, at least for now. First we learn how to wolf ride for 10 gold, and then we buy a wolf for 40 gold, for a total of 50. It's not too bad if I do say so myself. It leaves me with not much left though to mess around with, but now we can get around the world that little bit faster, and it's just one of them moments you always like to get to on your journey. With level 40 also comes a raid. I have a look and there is 0 groups. Nobody's searching. Will this be impossible for me to do? I also then spend 5 gold on learning artisan skinning too, so we can max out that profession. Now in order to even access Gnomeregan as a horde, that's a raid, there is a very fast and efficient way to do this. Rather than run and die many times, you can do a quest starting in Orgrimmar and ending in Booty Bay. It's just a simple turning quest, and this allows you to get a goblin transporter, which allows us to teleport to the raid when the time comes. I start then looking for a group for Gnomeregan, and we actually do get invited for a run. So while the group's filling up, I head to Hillsbrad, because here is a troll we need. He's a fellow I bought all the ingredients for earlier. By then speaking to him, we can fight a mob called Cyclonium. It's the last step in the quest chain. Now this mob is pretty hard to solo as a warrior. It hits really hard, but by carefully rotating my cooldowns and healing, I'm not doing too bad. He also does a knockback, putting me in the water, but this just gives me time to heal as he doesn't attack me there. I bring him very low as my health is going down, but he's in execute range now, so I bandage myself up as he doesn't hit me before I bring him down. I then go to loot him, and there's no item. Because I'm in a goddamn raid group. Yeah, I'm an absolute idiot. You're probably wondering now why I'm dead, and that's because I tried to do this quest after leaving the raid group and I failed. So I tried once more unbooning and activating every single one of my world buffs I've got stored. This gives us an insane power increase. It's probably the biggest increase in the classic games you can get. So our damage is now through the roof, but Cyclonian still hits really hard. If I die, I lose all my free world buffs and I'd be incredibly sad. But thanks to having a heal, we pull through, kill Cyclonian and get the Whirlwind Heart. With a brand new axe now on my back, the Whirlwind Axe, you can get this I think as low as level 30, so I did take my time getting it, but it's a good upgrade nonetheless. Back to the raid run too, and we're filling up pretty much to full already, so we get ready to run Gnomeregan. It's a gnome capital took over by trogs and leper gnomes, and we need to take these down. Now this group has a lot of high levels, so I'm expecting a pretty quick, clean, fast run, but you never know. The first boss, Grubis, a huge trog, dies really fast, but loot wise, absolutely nothing of value to us. The second boss is the Vicious Fallout. Once again, thanks to a Naxxramas Gade Hunter, the boss's HP just seems to be melting. I'm looking for me on the damage meters and I'm nowhere to be seen, unfortunately. He does then drop an epic staff, but for us, it's just no good. The third boss, a Crowd Pummeler, is a very fun boss. He does a punch that if you stand in front of him, well, you get thrown off the edge and die. So I tell people not to get knocked off. And like clockwork, I watch as his first punch throws off 2 people off the edge and I laugh my arse off. When the boss dies, of course he drops a 2-handed sword. That would have been a nice free upgrade and not an expensive pain in my arse like the Whirlwind Axe was, but we got the axe anyway, so we're sticking with it for now. The fourth boss is the Electrocutor 6000, and well, he does what he says, he electrocutes you. If you get a buff as melee, you just move out, and if you get zapped as a range, you move in. Pretty simple, but this boss can and will one-shot you. The loot is just awful, honestly awful. More caster stuff. The fifth boss is a bunch of animals. No, not kidding. A squirrel, dragon, chicken, and a sheep. It's a pretty unique encounter. They all got to die at the same time, which can be a pain for some groups, but for ours, we just kill them first try once more. There's a reason I'm not showcasing all the fights in detail, and that's because this raid is going to be a place that I'm going to keep coming back to throughout the video. They drop a cape with agility that reduces fall damage and a tier token. I actually do win a piece of loot, the tier token, and then I win the cape that reduces fall damage, so that was definitely worth it. The last boss is the Leper King, King Mechatork, and we instantly get to work on him. It's a very easy fight for melee, you just stand and whack him. He summons bombs, but range can press a big red button to defuse them. You do this fight in a few stages before the little king gnome falls out of his creations. We then take him down in a couple of slams with our weapon, and we've completed another raid. He drops some tier boots and his notes that give a quest item, that's what I really want. But we roll super low and lose them. But I won't complain because we did get a few items. I then go and buy my tier leggings, and that's when I realise I haven't even learnt plate armor. I've not been learning my spells. Oopsie. With a home trip done once more and it being very early in the morning, there's really only one thing left for us to do, as we're approaching level 42, and that's to head back to everybody's favourite jungle. In Booty Bay, there's also a spot in the tavern where you can fight without the guards interrupting you. So I challenge a warrior to trial by combat, and we don't move and we stand there hitting each other, going toe to toe. But my damage is starting to become incredible and I destroy him. I then instantly move upstairs, which is a bad move as the guards then do beat the shit out of me, and I die. From there I start the usual stuff, killing raptors, well, several of them, and dinging level 42, fighting basilics as well, all while trying to find a group for Blood Moon. As the sun goes red, the fight then begins. I see a young paladin struggling, so I attack him. Zorkis gets no mercy for me. He tries to bubble and run away, but he doesn't get very far before I put him down. We then also take down a Night Elf Hunter. Zorkis gives no shits, respawns in front of all 3 of us, healing himself, and tries to kill my rogue friend. He got pretty close and he definitely is brave, but he's a lion, so who cares? While I was questing in the jungle, Blizzard finally put out information about the brand new raid and its release date and the new phase, and also a new legendary weapon questline for warriors. Oh my god, we need that. That is going to be our ultimate goal. Is it even achievable for us? We best get to work. We start slaying all the goblins that have then set up camp, destroying the area in the jungle and taking back the crystals. We also make sure the tiger and the panther numbers don't get out of control, taking their leather to sell for later. We then once again meet a disgusting creature, a gnome mage. I instantly charge them without hesitation and start laying into the gnome as they polymorph me. They start casting all their freakish mage spells, but thankfully my fear has a range, so I can use that to interrupt the gnome. She can run from me, but when I finally get to her with my axe, I'm just destroying her, and I purge the world of a gnome once again. But it didn't end there. No, did it heck? I hunted down the creature on my wolf and made it my mission to put it down. It sheeps me and tries to run away, but my large timber wolf gives me the edge on closing the gap created from their blink ability. These mages are always tricky though with their frost roots and their frozen orbs, but I remember I've got meat hook ability. The mage is just trying to survive. They're no match for me as the panthers join in and want to eat her, but I make a very good play. As she's about to polymorph me, I attack the panther, so the panther's auto attack instantly breaks my crowd control, and it's only a matter of time, Zayu, before you fall. But she then heals to full HP, and I'm starting to actually lose health slowly, but with no mana, no hope, no health, back into the soil you go. I then went and did another raid in Gnomeregan for the XP and gear. It's only on a 3-day reset. I'm just going to showcase the loot I actually got in this run. So Grubbish dropped some plate boots and a leather belt with fantastic stats for a warrior. I'm the only plate user, so the boots are definitely mine, but unfortunately I lose the belt to the tank shaman. The rest of the run held nothing until the animals in the last room. This was a bit harder for us as we didn't have that many high levels, but it was easily manageable. I'm flying in the levels too. They then drop an epic belt with amazing stats and an increase to two-handed axes. I want this so bad. Unfortunately, it goes to the same tank shaman and I lose yet another item. God damn. We then kill the last boss and he drops an epic strength ring. Perfect for melee, especially for me. Also a tier chest piece, and once more, them notes, a quest item. I lose every single piece of gear, and guess who wins a strength ring? A warlock. Oh my goodness me. So I ask him, bro, can you trade the ring? It's a melee one. He then tells me it's soulbound, which I know is a lie unless he's equipped it. I also see he hasn't. So he does do the kind thing and comes and trades it me. And that was nice of him not to keep it. We get ourselves an epic ring just from asking. Oxhorn then trades me his power depleted chest that I didn't need, and this gives us a 2 set of Gnomeregan tier, making us really strong now, giving us more defense and attack power. And that was a nice easy quick run, but not without its dramas. Still no quest item yet. Coming out of there with gear at level 44, making a fantastic dent in our leveling. I hated how poor my damage was in raids. While questing, arms felt fantastic, but in a raid environment, it was awful. I wasn't a fan of the rotation I was using either, and I felt like a weak warrior. So I went and bought an item off the auction house, a pretty expensive one. Then I went and bought duel spec, which cost us a little pretty penny, about 50 gold. But I can afford it at the moment. Now I decide to test out Fury Warrior. Now unfortunately for me, I've got to level up all my weapon skills, which takes time to do. My rotation immediately feels much nicer with more things to press, and I'm starting to enjoy it. But another issue is it's Blood Moon, and I can see a max level horde staring me down. I then start running off as he just chases me, and I just stand there as he attacks me, and I try to make him feel bad by saying, really? I then say, dude, I've got buffs and an XP buff, and he just stands there with a conscious feeling bad. So my plan of appealing to his humanity worked. I then get ambushed by 2 low-level bleeding hunters. Now Fury for this sucks. I miss a lot, I don't do hardly any damage, and I die. I'm not sure if it was because of my weapon skill, but I just got owned. During Blood Moon, I ended up also fighting a mage. Not a gnome this time, but a undead. And I really got to test out Fury here, but it was the same kind of thing of arms. If I connect, I slice through clothies like butter, but catching up to them was a pain. In fact, me and this mage went back and forth for around 6 minutes. I did beat her every time until eventually they did catch me lacking, and I just didn't have any cooldowns left to compete, so there was nothing I can do except sit in a rune and get ice lances thrown at my face as I died. But this was a turning point for me. Trying to take down the leader of the Panthers, Barg, Farah, I just couldn't do it. My damage was poor, my skills were still going up, and this Panther ripped through me like I was paper thin. So after a corpse run back, I decided to go back to arms, as I do miss questing as arms already. I then went and hunted down the King of the Raptors, Tethys, with a Ren buff, meaning it's a world buff. And now back as arms. Dealing with the King of the Dinos wasn't that much of an issue. I didn't realise straight away, but there's a BM hunter or a dwarf as well watching me. And as soon as I see him, I decide to just attack him, but he dodges my hamstring. And now as he's the Beastmaster hunter, his pet is doing an incredible amount of damage to me. I don't have any heals as I just killed the dinosaur, and shut the hunter kills me. This then gives me a very long run back. In fact, death was a constant thing for me questing in the jungle. I would pull way too many trolls and I just couldn't deal with the amount that I would do, and then the run is just awful. It's genuinely such a long corpse run, so I'm not the smartest of players. So while I'm questing and searching for these bone necklaces, I start yet another run for Gnomeregan. I really want to get the quest item. After all, this is a 0 to hero series. This time I was streaming on Twitch. Now, Vartilok was in my chat, but I still didn't know at this point that his name Varty was the same one as the person in my group. I also started to miss my shaman after watching a shaman AoE kill everything while I struggle. So even though we have 2 level 60s, some people are quite new to the raid. I can tell instantly by watching a shaman die. Then our druid healer has like 10 stacks and dies, as well as a rogue too. They're all stood in one gas cloud, and I can tell this is going to be an interesting run. We was actually struggling, but we do have a good geared rogue and a warlock in Varty, so we do take it down. Not even a sweat. He dropped some really good plate gloves with 1% crit, but I keep my epic ones. I probably shouldn't have, because 1% crit is 1% crit. Now I want to showcase you the pummeler boss straight away. People are dying early on bosses, so you can probably guess exactly how this is going to go. Varty tells them,
"Don't forget to get your flight buff at the boss. Stand in front of him."
Yeah, he's trolling people, but it's pretty funny. I tell everyone, alright, let's not die. And we pull the boss. On his second punch, both Moose Strike and OK Hodge both get sent off the edge. Yeah, I can't help it. It's just hilarious to see every time. So when we kill the boss, I keep on passing items because I'm not sure if they're a massive upgrade. And OK Hodge is getting everything, which is good, I guess, even if he is dying every time. We kill the last boss once more, and once again, it's just the notes that we can get. Can we win the roll? No. The answer is no. So with that raid behind us once again, I ended up heading back to Ratchet. One of my viewers then tells me to wait before getting on the boat as he wants to come and give me something. Then he shows up. His name is Mindblown, or as I know him, Cookie. He then opens trade and puts a helmet, shoulders, and an epic weapon, Kang the Decapitator, with 200 gold in that window. That is insanely kind. Now I don't mind taking the weapon and the gear, but 200 gold is insane and I refuse that. Although he does give me 50 gold and he's adamant that I train up my profession. So now it's the only time I'm really going to accept too much help on the 0 to hero. I also give him back his helmet, but I do equip the shoulders and the weapon, and now we're ready, so thank you, Cookie. I then got to test out my new axe by taking on a giant Gorlash, and by utterly missing my dynamite. Yeah. I thought with my weapon I may be a match for him. Turns out not. He hits super freaking hard. So I start a plan to kite him to Beauty Bay, but then appears a max level night elf who roots the giant, but he's not attacking him. So I try to auto-attack him, but Gorlash is super mad and he hits me and puts me on basically no health. One more attack and I'm dead. The Night Elf then starts wrathing the giant to break his root so he'll charge and kill me. All I can do is run, but by doing that, the druid eventually gets threat. This allows me to charge in and finish off the giant before Good Kush doesn't kill me until he does start casting a wrath at my face, but I stop him. The jungle was a war zone. However, I'd also go out my way to kill people that would just quest him. They would also attack me too, and I would come across gnomes 24/7. I just couldn't believe my eyes. Sometimes they just don't even fight back, but for me, they were never getting away with that. I also went to kill a gorilla, but there was 3 alliances there, with one of them being a max level, and they're farming gorilla for fangs. You need 10 of them to summon a boss to do a quest. So I start doing my farm away from the alliance. I teamed up with a warlock who's on the same quest as me, so we start getting to work. But as I'm doing this, another gnome appears. They're like vermin. He tries to run away from me, but there is no escape. He then tries fighting back, but my damage with Kang now is incredible, especially in PvP. So I did a final gnome run. I know, but I was hell-bent on getting the notes from the last boss, and doing this ended up being a very good thing. Jawari, my nemesis for this run, absolutely smashed me in damage, and I'm a higher level, nearly level 50 now, and I'm better geared. Grubbish drops a toy, but we don't win it. Then on the crowd pummeler, I notice once again, I cannot keep up with this low-level Tauren warrior in damage. So I decide to copy his runes and see what he's doing, and if his playstyle can increase my damage output. I also notice he's in Berserker stance, so I copy him. I even speak to him about his talent choices and what spec he is to try and gather what he's doing. Then on the Electrocutioner, I see the difference. My damage now feels fantastic. I'm top 3, doing nearly 1000 DPS, all from a rune swap and Berserker stance. So thank you, Jawari, for showing me the light. He also dropped a pretty good gun with 12 attack power. I'm the only one that rolls on it, so I win it with a 9 roll. Beautiful. Then after killing the animals too, they drop that epic belt once more. We then kill the last boss for the final time, and all we can do is hope and pray we finally win them notes. They're rolled out and someone rolls an 89, and I win them with a 90. I win by 1. This will give us an insanely powerful item soon. Then the belt is rolled out, Jawari rolls an 11, then I roll a beautiful 89, and I get myself an epic belt too. What a perfect run. And that is us now done with Gnomeregan. And about time too. We're level 49 and with a turn in with the notes, we finally obtain a good necklace, an epic necklace with 16 attack power and 1% chance to crit. I'm in heaven. As we approach the final push of the video, level 50, it was just about getting that last little bit of XP. I went back to the jungle where I got jumped by 2 human paladins on a boat, and after using all my cooldowns, there wasn't much I could do, or so I thought. I fear one and start testing out all of the new gear I've got. With all my damage, I managed to bring one of them down, and I get off a victory rush on the second paladin. My health is so low, but I'm kiting with a mob on him, allowing me to drop combat, get off an intercept, and bring him down with 4% HP. Nice. A fitting place to hit that sweet level 50 was Zul'Gurub. I travelled across Azeroth and once more slain the trolls that inhabit the desert there. After slaying countless of them, we dinged level 50, allowing us to progress even further now. With the dungeon done, quest turned in, gold in the bank, I wanted to at least try and experience the level 50 Sunken Temple raid. I then accepted a warrior crest back in Orgrimmar and learned all of my abilities, even though they're starting to get super expensive. Then just like that, it was time to raid once more. This is it, the last raid until max level to Sunken Temple. But I messed up, and I'll tell you how. Well, I signed up as DPS, but the leader wanted me to tank. I told him I sucked at tanking and I'd rather DPS, but he said I should be fine as arms. I also sold all of my fury weapons, so now I don't even have a sword and a shield. Luckily for me, Kamadam said he'd also try and tank, as we don't have any max levels, so I don't know how this is going to go. Well, it starts off badly, really bad. We all die on the festering rot slime as you have to kite him and not stand in poison, which everybody messes up on, so we wipe. We do another pull, and while we do suffer several deaths, we manage to do it okay. My damage is awful, my threat is even worse, so I'm just trying to do my best to keep any sort of aggro. I feel like I shouldn't really be trying to do this as a tank, but I just want to get some loot and get out. And while epics start dropping way more frequently now thanks to the higher level of the raid, just nothing for us. He does drop a really good slow mace that I roll on, but there's so many needs going out, we don't really stand much of a chance and we lose that too. Then we take on the troll boss. It's sort of a gauntlet where once you kill one troll, the other becomes a ghost and you have to CC it, and not AoE. So for some reason our warlocks and shadow priests are fully dotting the trolls, causing them to wreak havoc. We do get pretty close as we kill a few of them, but something just completely one-shots me and I die. Then it becomes a domino effect as the rest of the raid is slaughtered by the trolls, causing a wipe. And one thing people don't have any patience for in Sunken Temple is wipes. For some reason, people just start leaving after only one wipe on this boss. I'm level 51 now with no gear and a little bit of XP. Now I'm saved as well. Well, we've definitely got to try and do this next time. I refuse to give up. And here is how our gear looks. An epic axe, epic belt, epic gloves, epic ring, epic neck. Pretty decked out if I do say so myself. Getting some loot next video on our final push to 60 has to be the way forward as we try to become a hero and master sod. But first we have our final 10 levels to get. Well, actually 9. I've got an abundance of rested XP, I think. For anyone that's new to WoW or doesn't know, rested XP gives you 200% of the creature's experience rather than 100%, so bigger equals better. Our friend Oxhorns is in a group with me along with Leofa and APH, and it seems the whole gang's together for a quick raid on the Sunken Temple. Now I tried this raid last time, but it went awfully wrong, so I'm hoping for better luck this time around. And as I'm crossing my way through the Deadwind Pass, I still notice things that sometimes I've never seen in WoW. The horrors that are inflicted. But I mean, they are human, so what does an orc warrior care? Then in the Swamp of Sorrows, I encounter the fallen hero, who wants me to go kill some hellboars. But as we're jumping straight into a raid, I've got no time for you, friend. The raid then begins with some of my friends, all around the same level, and it felt pretty good, I must say. I also see a warrior in pretty sick gear, but not the tier 3 I want to achieve. And I notice he's Fury, but with a two-handed weapon. He's not dual wielding. So I start prodding at his brains, asking him some questions, as I'm always trying to learn what's best. Then before we fight the first boss of the Sunken Temple, Atal, did I say that right? Probably not. Oh well, moving on. The fight is pretty simple. He drops down pillars and you stand in front of them before he smashes you in your face and does a lot of damage to you. As we have APH on his level 60, plus many others, and the fact Oxhorns is doing ridiculous damage, it's a good thing. The amount of XP for this boss kill with rested was a full half of a level. I am not kidding. It seems Blizzard have changed the 50% XP buff it used to be to the full 150% when you're 50 to 60, and I'll take that. No loot for us, but he does drop a toy that of course Oxhorn wins. It's always rough rolling against him for anything, and he's nearly level 60 now too, so I've got some catching up to do. The next boss in this raid is the Festering Rot Slime. It's, well, a festering slime of rot. The aim of the game here is to run the hell away from him before he devours you. He throws out poison junk too, and as a melee, we just don't want to stand in the green stuff on the floor. Some brave heroes do fall, meaning no XP for them, but as heroes of the Horde, we put an end to the slime's
consuming, and we collect his loot stored in the gunk. I thought it was no loot, but he finally does drop some gloves that are actually an upgrade over our epic ones that we had from a low level. So I need on them and I win them, so it's a nice small upgrade. The third boss isn't just one creature, it's a whole army of trolls that ended our raid on this place last time, but today we're back and we're more prepared. The trolls are much easier today too, with damage flying from all angles. The trolls melt really before I can do anything to them. Tactic wise, it's pretty simple. You CC the dead ones that come back as ghosts and don't stand in stuff on the floor, and use your interrupts when you can. After a gauntlet of trolls, we once again lose a tank. But luckily we have a 60 tank this time around, so he handles the rest of the trolls fine, while we take down the boss, giving us a level up to level 53 too. Now if you don't move out of the middle, well, you start the next boss. I try telling people this to get out, but they don't listen to me, so it's boss time. Yep, straight away after. This time you fight two dragons who put a poison all around the edge of the room. And of course, people don't move, so they instantly die to this, but what do you expect? Tactic wise, it's pretty simple. Don't get knocked down the hole in the middle, which I got very close to doing. Oh, no. I mean, one more pixel and I fell to my death, phew. Other than that, just keep DPSing the dragons. We lose a couple of people, but Antijax survives and we bring down the Emerald Drakes. Loot wise, really crappy stuff. Spell power and healing, all I can hope for is to win the tier tokens, but my rolls are awful and I don't have much luck. Then as we venture deeper into the temple, the trolls leader Jamal and Ogram await us. We've got to fight both of them at the same time, and one's a healer and the other one is more of a melee assassin. You just don't stand in AoE stuff, and that's really about it. Once we kill Jamal, Ogram eats his friend. Yeah, he eats him. Brutal. Then we burn down Ogram. I check my damage and well, I'm 13th. Not doing too hot as a pretty geared arms warrior, I must say. Loot wise from these guys, once more just caster shit. I do see a one-handed axe, but I decide to keep passing for now. But then I see a sword too, and I'm contemplating taking this for Fury, and I do decide to need it, in case I finally want to make that switch. Then as we approach the final bosses in this place, protecting their leader is Hazaz and Morphaz, a dragon that uses a nightmare. It's more of a burn boss, and this is where you just kill some ads and you pump damage into him, as they cast a final ability in the end called Eternal Slumber, and the proof is in the pudding. If it goes off, you're a goner. So we just burn him down and another boss bites the dust with once again awful loot. However, I finally win a tier token. This will give us a powerful item at the end of the raid. Then we face an actual difficult boss. It's the Shade of Aranicus. He summons ads, fears you, and casts an ability called the Waking Nightmare. It's a one-shot no matter what level you are, so you have to walk into these little clouds and avoid it. We actually only lose one person to this, which is pretty embarrassing for him, but funny for us. And I'm pleasantly surprised how easy it goes down, giving us yet another level, but we're not quite done yet. The last boss can be a pain, as pugs and coordination don't really go hand in hand, but we do have APH and Leofa leading us, so we should all be good. This is it, the Avatar of Hacker, the last boss for us to face. He shoots pulsing blood pools all over, which take up some space in the room. After that, he goes into his skeleton form. The reason this is difficult is because of corrupted blood. It's like a plague, so you make two corners, one for healthy and one for sick. Pretty simple, right? We seem to be executing the mechanics perfectly until right at the end when some people start to die, and we kill the last boss anyway as he drops the quest items that we need, and an epic trinket. But unfortunately, I lose that roll immediately too, and I don't get it. In fact, we don't win anything else, but we did complete the raid and I'm happy. So you need to now get ready because our journey is just getting started. Back in Ratchet, where I have my Hearthstone to port around the world that little bit easier, I immediately get into a PvP fight with a dwarf called Dorfus. Funny names these dwarves have. After being beat up by a dwarf last time, I've got to just put him down. It's a very close fight, with Dorfus nearly taking me out, but I'm a warrior, a PvP hardened veteran at this point, and another day and another alliance put down. Then after going to the capital of Orgrimmar and selling some items and starting to make a hefty bit of gold, Leofa and APH asked me if I want to join a BRD run or Blackrock Depths, so sure, why not? You can buy portals all around the world, but they cost a pricey 20 gold per one, so it's not cheap, but it does save you a lot of time, so sometimes we can use them. Now while I'm in the mountain, Alliance scum attack me, level 60s too. This is why I don't like them. He chases me down like a saying I've used plenty of times before, like the Hound did to the Butcher's Boy in Game of Thrones. In Blackrock Depths, we quickly lose our healer to an offline, and Leofa now has to heal, which he's very not happy with. But as always, on our way to the first boss, these dwarves, well, this happens. We pull way too many and we are quickly overwhelmed. I don't know what it is about these certain dwarves, but I always die here without fail. Maybe I'm the problem. So in high level dungeons, bosses drop these items, coins called Tarnished
to undermine reels, and we will need these at max level, so I will come back to them. But in this dungeon, I finally broke. It finally broke me how shit my damage is. I level up to 55, so I'm nearly at 60 already, but look at my damage compared to everybody else. A shaman who has got no gear on because they all broke when he died is out damaging me. The tank warlock too. I just can't keep going on like this. I want to be a hero, a strong warrior doing fantastic damage, not this slow hitting like a wet noodle type of shit. So I say to myself, if Angerforge drops a sword, I'm swapping specs. And like fate that's intertwined, he drops a sword. So I immediately swap over to Fury. I change every single one of my runes and spec correctly. Now Antijax's Fury arc can begin. Well, it would, but my damage won't exist for a while because I have to learn weapon skills. But I guess there's no better time to do so than now. This poor shaman didn't have such a great time. Not only with his several deaths with his gear being red, he must have pissed off the bartender because they all just come and beat down on him as he types
WTF.
And does this make me feel evil for laughing? Well, joke's on me because him being dead, me not having weapon skill and hitting like a wet noodle, literally I'm doing 5 DPS, we kinda get overwhelmed on a boss and adds pretty quickly. And well, with just me and APH left alive, it's a guaranteed death for all of us. And we wipe in this dungeon. Oops. But this was actually a blessing dying, because I can now get the achievement quest for Molten Core raid and get this done in the same dungeon too, so works out in the end. Then to make matters worse for us, the shaman had to leave to go and make dinner, and with his gear being a bit messed up, he's gone. I need my weapon skills up, and I need them fast. After replacing him with a druid and not really having weapon skills, we slowly took down the Emperor, the final boss. Not really any loot, saying that I actually did get some level wrists that will be an upgrade eventually, but we got a lot of coins, achievements done, and that's our dungeon done. Alright, well, Sunken Temple did reset the next day, and I just wanted some more XP and more gear. I'm not going to showcase every boss fight again, but there is some epics here I've got to talk to you about. I also have to talk to you about this brand new mechanic that has been added since I last played. With my weapon skills now up in the raid, my damage felt fantastic. Like my rotation, my abilities, everything felt so good. I thought, god damn, I've been sleeping on Fury this whole time. Turns out you can now get buff with world buffs. I'm still not sure how, but they are like a consumable, I guess. So people buy them and drop them. So I tell the raid, I thought my damage was too good to be true. I didn't see all the world buffs. But this was reflected in my performance on bosses. Oh god, what a difference swapping specs did, and getting world buffs of course. I went from being a bottom DPS to fighting with level 60s and being in the top half. Nice. And now my true warrior journey can truly begin. Leofa and APH hard reserved 2 items for me this raid. One was another tier token to give me a powerful bonus, and plenty dropped, so I was grateful for that. This now gives us a 2 set, giving us more chance to hit, which is well needed for Fury warriors. Then I win a roll for a stinging longbow with strength and 18 attack power. I'll bloody take that. I forgot that melee hunters was even a thing in Season of Discovery. I also get some hands that have hit on them, so even better. The loot just didn't stop flowing for me. On Jamal I got an axe. While it's very slow, it gives you 20 attack power, and it's better than my sword, so I opt to use that too. Now our tank didn't believe we could kill a hacker, and he wanted to leave, which would have caused the raid to practically disband. But we told him we can do it easily, and well, it was a big fat lie. A lot of people didn't even know what to do and died. Spreading the blood made things difficult for all of us, but a good thing about this boss is you only need a few people to really know what they're doing, and it's very killable, if you got the mana for it after all. Luckily the few heroes stabilise and we bring down Hacker first try. He also dropped an epic main hand weapon that has a chance to grant an extra attack, so I want that. The other hard reserved item for me was a quest item, the Scapular. This now gives us a epic ring when we turn it in with crazy stats. APH then trades me the Axe of the Executioner, and I won a 3rd blood token too. Then I win the main hand Cobra Fang Claw. What a flipping run. And we leave it at level 57, and we're nearly halfway through. We're flying to max level. Once I find a way back to the start of the entrance, I can turn in my gear for the free piece of Sunken Temple. But as I turn around, I see a chicken just jump to his death.
Follow me please. It is definitely not a trap.
And others following him. I guess that's the quickest way out of here. With more weapons and more gear and level 57, it was back to leveling up weapon skills again. I feel like I've done a lot of that recently, but as is a warrior's life when you get a new weapon. It's Blood Moon too, and I can see 2 low levels fighting for their lives, a poor warrior versus a cow hunter. I could interfere, but it looks like it was a close battle. Batipa then tried to bait me into a trap, so I gave him a quick punch, but they survived it, so they deserved my respect, and I let the low level live. Then I quickly realised, oh shit, it is Blood Moon, so I can't go back to the town for 4 minutes. I then see the orc that just got his ass handed to him, and he can't go back to town either, so he starts swearing at the guards. I decide to be kind and let him live too. Am I slowly changing? On my way to BRD again, I had to head through Red Ridge Mountains to get the flight pans and stuff for later on. I see some hunters and I thought they were just questing, until I encounter hordes of them. Then I quickly realised that these are bots. Killing them is pointless, but I do report them as they do actually get banned. But the plus side, as always, is a horde of boar corpses that they leave behind for me to skim. And it's always satisfying killing dwarfs. The reason I'm heading back to the mountain is for more coins and achievement quests and XP. I join up with APH and Leofa again to do an upper Blackrock Spire in hopes for a bit more loot and XP. Turns out when you're in a raid, the XP sucks badly, and upper Blackrock Spire has an insanely long fight and rend. You just kind of stand there AFK, waiting for the boss to come down, and I think it's scripted to be in 10 minutes, but I'm not 100% sure, so let me know in the comments. Anyhow, we clear the whole thing and take down General Drac. Not really any loot for me until Painweaver ban drops, 18 attack power, 1% critical strike. I want it. And I actually win it. Turns out nobody else does, so this was a run well worth doing. We're truly growing in power. We finish off the dungeon grind here in the mountain with a lower Blackrock Spire. We kidnap some wolf puppies, then slay their mother, and as their father comes to the rescue, I realise we are just monsters in this game, but loot is loot, coins are coins. While I'm in here, I turn in my quest to get attuned for Molten Core as well. I'm not sure how the raiding scene is still in Season of Discovery, but I'm hoping it's as good as I remember. And obviously the level 60 alliances can't let little peaceful me turn in a quest before they savagely kill me. Now, I've been to BRD quite a few times, but I didn't see there's actually slaves locked in the entrance that are crying while I was regenning my HP staring at them with food. Not one of my most noble moments. Then Karma came back and bit me straight in the ass with Leofa not healing me while I'm leveling up my skills and I die. And guess what else happens? Even with a geared level 60 tank on the same area with the same goddamn dwarves, we overpull.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And we die. Or healer with Zoom. I don't care, it was one of them. But it's just how it goes for me at this point. It's just a cursed spot. I also loot an eye patch, finally replacing my level 38 or something Scarlet Monastery helmet. That's how good it was for warriors. Now the reason I'm showing you this BRD quickly again is because of this rogue. Him and Leofa had a bit of a dispute talking about the route that we took. Because when you open a certain door, it locks another door or something like that. This place can be a maze. So because the rogue was wrong, guess what the little shit does? He loots the Grim Guzzler key. And then when we ask him to open the door while we're fighting the boss, he says,
I dropped it FML.
Meaning he deleted the key on purpose, so we can't get through, and every single mob is now hostile to us. He then runs in, and I didn't see this until I'm going back on my footage. He tried to aggro all the mobs and vanish, but he fails. Then he tries to rush into us with all the mobs. What a piece of... All because he was wrong. Luckily for us, Leofa and APH actually do survive so we can get resurrected, but he then just leaves a group. Now, lucky for us, the door eventually randomly opened from a patrol. I don't know how it works, this game still confuses me, and we can move on as a 4-man. Once again, clearing the last boss, the Emperor, but no hand of justice or ironfall for poor little old me. In fact, there was 0 point of me doing anything other than dungeons up to max level. Sunken Temple put me up at such a high one, and with dungeons and quests and getting coins, that's what I ended up doing with our final dungeons being in the Plague Lands. I then saw some people killing undeads and having something called Sanctified gear. I've got no idea what it is or even how you get that, but I'm sure I'll figure that out. Then as I arrive at Light's Hope Chapel for quests, the amount of people still here is staggering. One of the dungeons I went to first was Stratholme, and the XP game was nuts. I hit level 59 very fast, but this place gave me mad PTSD from my classic series, where I was haunted by the cape of the Black Baron. I wonder if it had dropped for my warrior first time. That'd be incredible, wouldn't it? Well, me and Leofa locked ourselves out, looting holy water, so that's that. Luckily it's Season of Discovery and this trash dies faster than classic, otherwise we would have been here a very long time. But no, he doesn't drop the cloak, but he does drop warrior dungeon legs that are actually pretty bad for me. Then as we kill Balzaphon in the living version, I get something called Remnants of Valor that I also have no idea what I use them for, and I kind of love this feeling of mystery. I'm getting currencies that I don't know what for, I don't know what gear to get, and I'm just really enjoying my time on Season of Discovery. I get some sweet braces instantly, the Vampire Braces of the Sadist that are a very nice upgrade. I then say bad RNG on the Righteous Orbs, and one drops immediately and I win it, so ask and you shall receive. I don't know how much this is worth yet, but I'm hoping it's a fair bit. After purging Balnazar from Stratholme, we are very close to level 60 already. I just need a tad bit more XP. I then get a pretty cool sword too, if I ever go back to Arms, which isn't looking like it's gonna happen. Then I go to Undercity and something hits me. I haven't trained any of my abilities in a very long time, so I could have been doing way more damage. But but this is about to really hurt my wallet. After looking at the trainer, I decided just to learn everything and get it over and done with. Some abilities are 6 gold, and this really hurt me to do. I just watched 100 gold coins disappear from my bag. But in a fitting way to hit the max level of 60, I head to Scholomance. After all, I'm still farming coins, and after killing only the first pack of mobs, we hit level 60, and our journey in the endgame now begins. While in Scholomance, I died to the poison clouds, because no matter which version of World of Warcraft I'm on, I don't learn my lesson. I'm focused on loot too much, and I forget. Oops. With level 60 now done, dungeons done, we can really start the 0 to hero challenge and get geared up. I have one look at the looking for group and I can see countless raids going, but I need to get attuned and maybe a bit more gear before I'll get invited. This is where them coins come in handy, but I make a grave mistake. I turn in a quest called Show Me the Money that I really don't have to do, that cost me 1 tarnished coin. While leveling, I collected a total of 70. You can buy Blackwing Glare tier gear and weapons with these coins for 35 each. So 35 and 35 is 70, and I now have 69 because of the quest. So I could have had 2 pieces of gear immediately, but I'm a dum-dum. I then went back to Orgrimmar to check out the auction house for gear. I see something called Scarlet Uniform, and it looks strong, but I have no idea what this gear is for, and it's a bit out of my budget currently too as well. Except for the bracers. They're powerful and cheap, so I buy a pair. But then I see a Sanctified piece 2 on the auction house for 8 gold, so I opt to buy them instead. I tried to see if I can buy the whole set, but I couldn't really find anything else. The reason I was buying gear was because I've already joined a raid. Yep, already. I'm always straight in. I just whisper and hope for the best, and I do my best. This is for something called the Nightmare Dragons, something I've never done in World of Warcraft, and I'm not sure if this is exclusive to SOD. Obviously, I run into a lot of elite dragons and I get eaten alive because that's just typical of me, but it's not a far run luckily. Then after summoning and choosing our soft reserves, which are items I will get to roll on, well, I just copied other people, it's time for our first raid. And it looks like this raid is a single boss dragon fight in Ashenvale. Not sure if the dragon changes depending on the day or the week, but I'm so ready to slay my first boss. I'm with Leofa once more and I'm curious to see how well I do with geared people, and it's not long before I realise how undergeared I actually am. With full world buffs, people are doing incredible damage. I can't even see myself, but Fury still feels really fun to play. Tactic wise, I had no clue what to do. He breathes on people with something called Noxious Breath and summons little lads that we have to kill. But other than that, felt really easy. I guess this is maybe a catch-up raid. I'm 14th on damage, but I'm doing my best, and it looks like I'm roughly doing what some other 60s are too. We bring down the Drake, and oh my god, look how many epics. It seems he drops pieces from all sorts of different raids. I know what Primeval stuff is from my Shaman Blackwing Glare days, but the other pieces, I've got no clue. So then we continue, meaning there's more bosses. You bet your backside there is, as we take a portal to the Hinterlands where a second dragon awakes. The second dragon, Ysandre, RIP to her and Legion by the way, is practically the same kind of fight. But there's a few more adds, and well, I encounter this green fog thing for the first time that puts you to sleep. Let me tell you, it's one of the most annoying things in this game. It gets worse. We do kill her and get some more good loot, usable by me, but we've got to wait to the end to see. Now the third dragon we actually died on. I didn't record it, but this boss is freaking annoying, and I'll tell you why. You tank the boss in a certain spot, huddled up. I presumed it's because of a front breath attack, but the way I'm stood, I am put to sleep 24/7. It takes me back to the Wailing Cavern days. Other than it being very annoying to fight, they're very easy bosses, and we kill Emeris too, getting a lot of coins each time. Then the item I soft reserve drops. It will give me an AQ tier item. It's rolled out, and I roll a huge 6. Yeah, 6. Before I lose to a 13 roll. What is my life? That was very unlucky. The last dragon is also a pushover, Lethon, but thematically it's a very cool instance. I'm really happy you have this sort of catch-up raid available. I think it's great to get fresh 60s and alts in here for some gear. However, some people won't take fresh geared people, so you just gotta keep browsing and get yourself into it. After Lethon falls, it's time for loot, and I'm still being put to sleep, even after the damn dragon's dead. My bindings are rolled out, and I also immediately lose them too. Fantastic. RIP to my soft reserves. However, my Blackwing Glare tier legs are rolled out, and I roll a huge 14. However, there's 0 competition, so I win them. That's huge. Next, what's rolled out is my Blackwing Glare tier chest piece. Once again, no competition, so I win that with a 65 roll, meaning from these dragons, I just obtained 2 sets of tier. But there is a problem, and I'll tell you the problem soon. Straight after the raid, I went back to Org to sell some of the stuffs and do that sweet character maintenance I love doing. I spent a bit of time inspecting warriors with gear too, and I'm seeing that they all have a trinket called the Speed Stone. Now, I've
several warriors have this. I guess I'll get it too. Buy when equipped, which means I can buy it off the auction house. So before I receive a summon to our next stop, I go to the auction house and I drop a massive 200 gold on it. It's a fantastic trinket though, giving us 2% extra crit chance and increasing our attack speed by 2% too. Instantly after this, I'm in yet another raid. Season of Discovery is popping off. There's always something to do and it's fantastic. People in these beginning raids really don't even seem to care about my gear, and I'm just getting more powerful each time. Now, because Molten Core is really easy, people are a bit gung-ho, so to speak, on Trash especially. We managed to overpull, well, I don't know if it was a pet, but we pulled a whole freaking instance, so we wiped with all our world buffs. Fantastic start. But what's good now about Molten Core is Blizzard have added coins to bosses, and you get 3 each time, so this means you can get, I think, over 30 per run, which is 2 pieces of Molten Core tier or 1 piece of Blackwing Glare. And for the first time, I'm knocked into lava on my own. How embarrassing. Now, because I have a weak aura that tells me when to jump in lava, it's all I can do to survive. It's stand in the lava, jump to avoid damage, and wait for the kind warlock to put me out of my embarrassment and summon me. Now, Molten Core is an absolute pushover at this point of the game, and bosses melt like absolutely nothing, so I'm just going to showcase you the loot here. After we do the second to last boss in Majormado, probably said that wrong, the leader rolls out a few pieces of loot, one of them being the tier belt, and I win it with a massive 88 roll. Fantastic. It gives me time to pop to the tier vendor too before we face Ragnaros and buy the Belt of Might. After we take down the Fire Lord in a pretty safe kill, only a few deaths, but in random pugs this always happens, and I must say my damage is coming along pretty nicely. It's time to roll out all of the loot, and I gotta tell you a few things I needed drop. My shoulder pads are rolled out, and as I'm the only one with a soft reserve, I win them. Not only that, on the helmet I roll a massive 91, giving us a tier helmet too. This then guarantees us a 2 set of Molten Core, swimming in loot. I'm too eager to wait, so I turn them both in instantly, and now we are really starting to look like a warrior. I didn't get anything else, but I did get 3 pieces of tier, so I'm ready to continue. In between the raids, I gotta keep on top of everything. All the different gear and items, will I need them for later? Who knows? I guess I become sort of a in-game hoarder. The way I was making gold with leather seems to have severely dropped too, so I don't even know how I'm going to afford an epic mount. I also from these raids have an abundance of coins, 111 to be exact, and while I technically could buy a weapon which would be a big upgrade, I decided to buy 2 more pieces of Blackwing Glare tier, allowing me to get a 4 set. And no, I want to remind you to not look at Atlas loot while running around Booty Bay, because if you accidentally run into an alliance and click on them, the guards will relentlessly beat the crap out of you and take your world buffs. So the next stop on our journey through raids was Zul'Gurub, and I did a silly thing and didn't record our hacker kill, which we did first, and it was very easy, but it did hold 2 things for me. 2 freaking weapons, the ancient Hakari Manslayer and Arlok's Grasp. While maybe not being the best main hand with its only 2.2 attack speed, and I know you want slower weapons, they're bloodied as well, which looks fantastic. And I gotta test them out on Jindal the Hexer. I can just feel my warrior growing and growing in power. There's not much difficulty here either for the geared people that come, as well as my friend Troz, who's here from my classic series, and he's offered to come and tank for us, and he has a Nax geared druid. All in all, it's a 30-minute raid that loot is in abundance of, but most of the stuff that dropped was caster stuff, except for our 2 weapons we got. Tactic wise, there really isn't much to do, as people's DPS is just quadruple mine, so bosses melt. Troz then actually trades me a Hakari Idol, and this is what everybody comes here for, because they're for a shoulder or leg entrant. Troz is explaining it all to me and how it works, but he's saying I need a few extra things before I can get it, and also I don't want to waste the enchant on bad gear. Oh, and then I ninja pull half the raid and kill us. Yeah, you're welcome, Troz. In return for me killing him, Troz trades me some goodies. He realised I only had 10 slot bags, so he traded me some he crafted, 18 slot, which is super kind of him, and a punctured voodoo doll. Combining this with the Hakari Idol will allow me to get the leg enchant eventually. Troz, you little legend. Look how much bag space I have now, it's beautiful. I actually heard that you don't need to be attuned to Elixir on your ults. By going to a certain vendor in Orgrimmar on my Shaman, we can purchase a bind on account necklace. This will allow us to skip the quest chain on our warrior and do an Elixir if we need to. There's also a handbook of Valor of Azeroth for classes of warrior. I had no idea what this was for, but I'll buy it anyway. I know I said I wasn't using my main to help out, and so far I haven't, but skipping an achievement quest I certainly will do. Turns out Valor of Azeroth is a buff that warriors get, so pretty nice to have. I also have all this tier gear now from Blackwing Glare, so I head back to the mountain for the issue I talked about earlier. The issue was I can't turn it in until I'm attuned to the raid, because that's where the vendor is. So I've been sat with plenty of epics in my bag that I can't use. So first we gotta kill the quartermaster and get a letter off him.
Then we head into Upper Blackrock Spire. Now, I have to showcase you Rend again because I said it would be funny if Felst Striker drops an epic dagger, and it actually does drop. Nobody needs it, so I take it for my warrior in case it's actually better than my current weapons. After this, all we need to do is to get enchewed is click the orb at the end of the dungeon and bam. Finally, we can enter Blackwing Lair. We can talk to the guy who's definitely not Nefarion and purchase a chest piece, some gloves, legs, and boots, giving us now 4 sets of Blackwing Lair gear and boosting our gear score to nearly 800. We are flying in gear, but we're not quite ready for the further raids yet. We've still got a lot to do. One of these things is to get a tune for Naxxramas. Now, them remnants of valor I looted at the start of the video do have a purpose. It's for a quest called Shadow of Doom. Well, part of it. The invasions that happen around Azeroth. It's where we need to be. Luckily for us, we have a druid in Troz who's willing to help us out. If you don't have a tank friend to help you, there's always plenty of groups going called invasion groups. Now, what you do is just kill things until Shadow of Doom spawns. Then once you've killed it, you speak to a ghost guy who's around the area. In return, he gives you 400 remnants of valor each time, and we need a total of 3,150, so quite a few to go. After we farmed this out for a while, I believe I had enough to get a tune to Naxxramas. I was wrong. One thing you can do is turn in your necrotic runes as well for items, so I can get some sanctified plate gloves. This will give us a 2-set bonus, and I'll explain what I need that for later. But in order to get into Naxxramas, we need quite a lot of gold, items, and reputation. We also need a righteous orb, so we go in 3-man strat home to farm out 1 orb each, and luckily for us, they actually drop, so that saves us a bit of gold. Then I go to the auction house to buy a few more items. Because I'm only going to be honoured, I need to buy 2 Nexus crystals, 5 arcane crystals, and I've got the 1 righteous orb from the dungeon, and 60 gold. That's what I need. Then it was off to Stratholm again to farm 6,000 reputation, give or take, to get honoured. While doing this, something kind of crazy happened. We just kept getting back-to-back orb drops, and these are worth 60 gold apiece. Naturally, I win one of them, but I'm not kidding when I meant back-to-back. I think after only 3 mob kills, we get 3 orbs. With the reputation part done and materials acquired, all that left to do was farm the remaining remnants of valor, and I obtained the chest piece that I sanctified too, so now I've got the whole set. Me and Oxhorns then went and got a tune to Demonfall Canyon. This is also an important part of our journey. We had to collect 8 Albeast pineal glands, which I think is the thing they use to urinate. Lovely. We turn them in Fellwood, and this attunes us to the new dungeon in Season of Discovery, Demonfall Canyon. With all the remnants farmed, we can finally head into Naxxramas and speak to Cug Softjaw. This is where you obtain the Seal of Dawn. It gives you a buff that increases your damage and health for every piece of sanctified gear that you own, so it's needed in order to do something called Nax Hard Mode 3. So now we're attuned to the raid, we're starting to get sanctified pieces for the raid, and we're slowly close to what I wanted on this journey, which was to go from 0 to hero. There's a few things left to do, so while traveling the world I get whispered off low levels telling me that a priest will mind control me and throw me off ships. So me and a shaman beat the absolute crap out of him, and I tell Deathtool job done. One of the things I'm aiming to do is another brand new dungeon introduced in Season of Discovery called the Karazhan Crypts, but we have an achievement to do, and part of this achievement was to do Demonfall Canyon, so that's why I had to kill them owl beasts. After heading to Morgan's plot and interacting with a corpse, we become trapped in some sort of purpley dome, and it looks fantastic. Then by doing a few quests in Deadwind Pass and finding a certain injured adventure in a cave, we had to head to Demonfall Canyon. After clearing through the place no problem, I once again die randomly by being an idiot, pulling for the tanks and charging in. Let tanks tank people. Then I had one of the worst experiences with corpse running I've ever had in WoW. I had to go from one side of Winterspring to the other, which is kind of far. Now this Shadow Priest seems to be on the same part of the quest I am, but they wait for me to go first before running in anywhere. Smart, I guess. But we could have teamed up. I then end up at 50% health with a succubus on me and I can't mount. Does the Shadow Priest help me? No, does he? He mounts up and runs off. He used me as a bait, and the corpse run is insanely long. Eventually I make it to the Wisp right at the bottom of the map, after I died doing this twice by the way. It was awful. Then our last stop is in Grimbatal. It has us kill an elite dragonkin and collect the Flame of Life, which didn't have a 100% drop chance, but we do get it on our second kill. Then with the Demonfall Canyon item, the Wisp that we just got from Winterspring and the Flame from the Dragon, we turn them in Deadwind Pass, and we're now attuned for Karazhan Crypts. Once we get to the crypts with a fire in our hand, we push back the darkness and we bring down that purple barrier. And I enter Karazhan Crypts for the first time. Oh my god, what an eerie, freaky dungeon. This place gave me the chills. You gotta follow the tank around with a torch or you will fall to the darkness and you can't even see what monstrosities lie around every corner. Ghouls, ghosts and death is what awaits you. I must say the design of this place is utterly fantastic. The lighting, the way everything's done, brilliant. Our first boss was some sort of spider, the creeping Maelstrom, and this is where I realised how undergeared we are. Everybody's doing less damage than the tank and I'm utterly hopeless at the bottom, even with world buffs and all the gear I've got. It takes a very, very long time to kill anything, but we do manage to slowly and steadily. Luckily, mechanics for the spider wasn't too difficult, but we did nearly get overwhelmed by all the ads. The gear that drops is fantastic. It's got a high item level and it's sanctified with high stats, but unfortunately nothing for me off this spider. Death followed us at every turn in the crypts. Spiders would come out of the darkness and wrap up our tank before feeding on us, wiping our party. Then we would have to swim underwater where people were left to drown on chains before surfacing for one of the coolest fights in the game. It feels like a Dark Souls boss in World of Warcraft, the Harbinger of Sin. What a fight this is. Our damage sucks ass and we've got no world buffs and we begin to fight him. He summons pulsing fire at each location and does something called the Pull of the Damned, which is a one shot if it hits you. You gotta run out while he casts Inferno while being dragged back or you're obliterated. Now this boss fight takes us around 5 minutes I think, but we do execute the mechanics safely. We dodge all the fireballs that come out from him and we don't stand in the fire and we don't let Inferno burn us alive. As we make our way further around the crypts, we end up finding a glimmer of hope. It's a blue flower showing us that we're not alone. By the flower is people's graves though, and they're guarded by the Gravekeeper, sort of a mini boss. When we kill him, he drops an opera ticket of some sorts and a tunic of undead slaying. We quickly find out what this opera ticket was for because the sick people down here have some sort of show going on, tormenting the souls. Zanzibar, the healer, then begs for it to not be the twins and says if it is, he's gonna lose his shit. Before, well, we get the twins and he wishes us luck. We've absolutely no idea what to expect. Before we slay the twins' grandma, the twins then turn into demons and the priest is trying to tell us tactics on the fly, so we just start beating down on them. Shadow orbs shoot across the room as we take damage from every angle. Oxhorns, being the silly goose he is, gets hit by everything and dies, meaning we've now just lost a lot of damage. Thankfully, we do have 2 druids, so he does get resurrected as I go to run in to do damage before I'm quite literally one shot too. Oh no. Oxhorn then dies once more as the healer was asleep, and now we are in really big trouble. Troz and the healer and the warlock all get dangerously low with only 1 demon left. It's looking very close, but they do stabilize, and no thanks to me and Oxhorns, we do succeed at the opera, but just barely. Get it? Barely. Never mind. Now after we kill the Wailing Banshee, Troz is a true gentleman. He offers to buy mine and Oxhorn's epic mount or make a considerable donation towards it, but I just can't accept 500 gold. I need to grind my ass off and make it work. Bags and that are okay, even Kang too, but 500 gold, I just can't take it right now. And it hurts to decline this at the moment, so that's why I'm showing it. We then encounter somebody trapped behind the gates here and we free them, hoping to save them. Kagi Marla. And after activating some relics we found, the little shit turns on us and we start to fight him. Well, by fight, I mean we slowly chip away at his HP as he's some sort of mage. He does good damage, but really nothing concerning, and it takes plenty of time for us to bring him down, with us doing pathetic damage, me included. But that's yet another boss down, and yet another piece of useless loot for us. I also got lost in the dark, but we do arrive at the Pit of Criminals. And this is where we're going to be truly tested. Out of the darkness with the ritual done comes Kairon. This guy is difficult. Let me show you why. You have to have the candle to hit him or something, and we've got full world buffs and cooldowns going, and we're barely making a dent on him. He does an ability called the Red Death, which is a one shot, but we dodge that. Then he phase you all into the darkness while he roots one single player, but I don't see him pinging on the map or even know about this mechanic yet. While we're being absolutely smashed with damage, and we're not coping well at all. I'm top damage, which showcases how poorly we are actually doing, but we do stabilize and we continue the onslaught onto him. Then I die to the Red Death where I wasn't stood in, I swear I wasn't, and this is getting pretty bad. Oxhorn is then mind controlled and he one-shots our tank, and you can see how this is going. But for a first try, it didn't go too bad considering this guy is called a hard boss. We then try Kairon once more. This time we know a bit of the tactics and we ping him when we get frozen in the dark, but I don't know what happens to the healer as he just says he hates the druid, but I think Oxhorn one-shot him too, and we all agree this is just not happening, not with our gear and not with our group. We allow Kairon to harvest our souls before we call it a day and we're defeated in the crypts. By the way, that wasn't even the last boss in this dungeon. This is where we end the first part of our endgame journey. And now there's a brand new raid along with a potential legendary weapon and questline to do. It's time to try and get it all today. Our journey once again begins in the month of April, and in our hometown of Orgrimmar, where I met a friendly warrior called Dermot. He saw my gear and gave me some pointers on where I can get some upgrades, and I made a friend, really nice chap. I really needed to start making some dents in upgrades in our gear, so I joined an AQ10 raid. Something I've never really done in World of Warcraft. The theme of this raid is bugs. Somebody shares a quest with me that offers a weapon, so I'll take any quest I can or any upgrade right now. It gives us a one-handed sword, which is a direct upgrade over our current crap weapons. The first boss is Kuranax with full world buffs and some people's gear. Well, you can see how fast this giant scorpion bug looking thing is just melting. We've got a mage doing over 6,000 DPS. That is incredible. I loot some coins and a sack off him, but not really any gear for us. The second boss was like an onslaught of bugs and warriors, and we even had like a little live player count at the top. So if you wipe a lot, I think you fail the hard mode. I'm not 100% sure. But I mean, just look at how fast these guys melt. It's just crazy. Rajax then drops a really good necklace actually, and comparing it to mine, definitely a massive upgrade. They start rolling out the loot and I roll a very high 91 to win the Fury of the Forgotten Swarm, beating a rogue to it. I don't know why a rogue would need strength, but maybe this is just a catch-up raid. But that upgrade for me is a very nice one. So I'm already moving in the right direction of the endgame. We cleared every boss in the raid with no issues, and there was no more loot until we arrive at the end boss. Turns out a mount can drop from here, but that was reserved for the leader, so it's nice to know for the future. Some of my friends Oxhorns and Rangoon get some items as well, but apart from the necklace, this raid just didn't hold much for us. I needed to do more raids and kill way more bosses, but the plus side was I was starting to make a lot of gold doing this. I met my first pair of not so nice people on WoW 2. Me, Oxhorns and Rangoon went to go and do an AQ40 raid. The rules of soft reserve are you can reserve any item you want on an external website, and then you roll against other people that are reserved the same item as you. So I choose an item called the Dark Edge of Insanity, a very, very strong two-handed app. Until I get a message off Yuna, a hunter, saying to
change your SR Dark Edge of Insanity
and remove it from the axe. I reply with a huh? I'm pretty confused. He's not the leader, just a random hunter. He then replies with
or you will be replaced.
So what? I will be kicked if I don't change my soft reserve. So I message the leader asking if I can't roll on the app. He tells me that he's just leading and the hunter is going to do the loot, and the hunter wants it. Usually if people put together a raid, they hard reserve an item, meaning you can't roll on it. But these guys seem to be just threatening people that want their items or you get kicked, so what douchebags. So I changed my soft reserve, but I'm not happy about it, and I speak to Oxhorn and Rangoons about them. Oxhorn just refuses to change his soft reserves, and then we're all kicked from the raid. Not a big deal, but I did just run all the way there on foot and waste quite a bit of my time. But oh well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows on WoW, and I just place them both on ignore, and that's that. So I have just been kicked, I start looking for more runs. While doing so, my rare scanner add-on goes off to tell me that the Wandering Swordsman has spawned. Now I don't know if he drops good loot or what, so I panic and I start searching for him. Then I find him wandering the road. After I talk to him, he tells me I am here to test my blade, so I just say sure, expecting a duel with him, but I'm then teleported onto some massive pillar with flames around me. This is really cool, I must say. He has 3000 HP, so this should be really easy for me. I can then also choose a difficulty, so I go with easy to start off. I'm then teleported again, and we face a mob with around 800,000 HP. I start the fight, but I'm doing negative damage to him while trying to dodge abilities on the fly. I think I'm out of my depth here. So much stuff starts going off, and I die. That was with all my world buffs too. I respawn by some sort of door, and I think I'll leave this for now. I don't know what it is. Off to the Plaguelands now, and more specifically Light's Hope Chapel, where we can purchase a shoulder enchant called the Sanguinist. This gives us a powerful effect that will increase our damage by tenfold. But with the latest raid now being out, it was about time I started really pushing into that endgame. Our first part of the quest chain I'm on is Scarlet Activities. Well, we gotta see what's going on in the Tirisfal Glades, probably said that wrong. PvP is kicking off, and well, if it's red, it's dead. Gotta get in the killing blow. Then we team up to fight the Scarlet Infiltrator. After returning, we had to head to a Scarlet camp where we meet Beatrix, who gives us some information, then sends us back and forth between here and the Light's Hope Chapel. Now I don't know if this is just me, but these elites of fallen heroes are no heroes. They always beat down on me, dismount me, and they've also got a crazy stupid slow that makes it so you can barely move. I shout out begging for help of my fellow horde members so I don't die and lose all my buffs again. but the Horde just don't care, and they leave me to die. Part of the quest chain was us killing undead too, and testing a plague on them. Not sure if I agree with these kind of weapons, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Then we test out the improved version on the plague on some summoners. After doing a quick Scholomance and seeing Leonid's fate, we can return to him in the Lights Up Chapel to get a very, very strong trinket, the Hand of Reborn Justice. With an amazing amount of attack power and a 2% chance to gain an extra strike, this is massive over our current trinket we've had since level 25. Yeah, long time. It was time to claim victory over Karazhan Crypts 2, the new dungeon introduced in Season of Discovery. Last time I was here, we couldn't beat the second to last boss, and I had to leave. This time, with the help of our guild that I've joined called the Old Guard, we was ready to delve back into it. With a Warlock tank and a Feral Druid absolutely blasting on damage,
nice.
Things seem to be going a lot better for us. My favourite boss, the Harbinger of Sin, died and dropped a very strong spell power weapon. After this, we slain some goblins at the Opera event, Gold Rust Boot, and they dropped some really bad offhand. So not really any loot once again for me, but we do then kill the Creeping Mason, a massive spider in the depths of the halls. He was an easy fight once more, but he actually does finally drop something for me. A ghastly ring, and it's sanctified too, the gear we need for Naxxramas. This ring has a really cool effect as well, with 2% extra attack speed, and our gear score is now over 850. Every item is starting to feel like such an improvement for me lately. But it was time for the boss, Karan. We get told the strategy that we're going to pull him up to the top and tag him at the entrance. So I'm hoping this will finally work. He tells us to go upstairs, but in the darkness, we're all lost and we're slowly taking damage. But the Fire Kitty has got a cross on him. We start the boss fight and we wait right at the top of the stairs, but things start going horribly wrong straight away. Our healer seems to get lost in the darkness, and Voodoo, our feral, dies. Our tank's fart nearly dies, but with 3 druids, we get our reses out, and we slowly start to stabilise. We can now see the whole room, and we start pumping damage into him. And our damage starts ramping up, and he's dying a lot easier. Probably got something to do with a certain feral druid doing a lot of damage, but hey, it won't be a dungeon run without Oxhorns getting himself one-shot either by a simple move-out mechanic. We kill the boss, crap loot, let's move on to the last. Now, this is all new to me. It's about as far as I've ever been into the crypts at this time. I haven't faced or seen the last boss. All I get told is that I need to have my disarm bound, as when he starts swinging like a maniac, disarm him. So now I'm trying to prepare for what's about to happen, and out comes Uncommon. And I'm thinking, this is the last boss. And that also sounded like a Pokemon name then. He starts rapidly hitting me, and I'm trying to just completely guess when I need to disarm him. But we never really seem to be any sort of danger. His HP is just disappearing, and he dies. But that wasn't the last boss. In this room is one of my favourite rooms, and while recently with its dark aesthetic and the lights brightening it up, it's time for that last boss. We get told to attack the yellow mobs or we're gonna wipe, and then here he comes, a Dark Rider. He's actually easier than the last boss we face. Just every now and then he does a charging event with mirrors of himself, and you gotta find the right one. Then it's just a rinse and repeat until we bring him down. My damage was pretty good for this fight too. And that is it. Finally, Karazhan Crypts completed. He drops his shield, which looks really cool, so I'll take it for that as nobody else needs, and we continue on a journey. The dungeon and raid train event just never stopped. I joined group after group, back to back, looking for ways to get into that fated Naxxramas where that glorious tier 3 Dreadnought set awaited. But I wasn't even safe in my hometown, where scumbag Alliance rogues roam the street, ganking us, taking my buffs. Damn you, in Elmar. Even with the easy raids, people still can make mistakes. But then you get the odd toxic person taking it a tad too far. But it was funny to watch the tank bring the dragon into the middle of this raid and just kill everybody.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
I have floor point of view for Leafon, and my Karaji bindings of command dropped. As you can see, I'm the only one that reserved these, so this will be a huge upgrade. In order to get this tier piece, I've got to buy some scarabs and some things like that to turn it in. And I'm right now up to a massive 1,000 gold, so soon time to get that sweet epic mount. A guy I met in Ogram and not a program said he wanted to make a donation for my epic mount, but as I've already made 1,000 gold myself, I decided to accept it anyhow, as it'll just be used for consumables for raiding. Now I've got the funds for my last expensive item. I head to the wolf trainer and I buy a horn of the swift brown wolf, and now we can travel the world much faster. And it's always one of my favourite moments. I will always showcase me getting a mount. So the warrior I spoke to at the start of the video, I decided to take his tips and craft myself a cloak with the remaining gold I've got left over. It's pretty pricey, but by paying a tailor they can make me an item. It's called the Karaji Silk Cloak, with a 1% chance to hit and 23 strength. In Molten Core in Season of Discovery there is an item called Core Forge Gear 2. I managed to buy every single one near enough, giving us a whole 6 set. It's got some powerful effects and I think we're ready for Naxxramas. But just before I head to the raid, I also bought myself a toy called the Gift of the Gob with some of the Undermine reels. It's a cosmetic only item that turns you into a goblin. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But this was it, my first entry to Naxxramas. I joined that guild called the Old Guard and they hosted a Nax run. I think it's called hard mode free what we're doing, which probably makes sense why I've got this debuff with free stat. I also get told to go and get a quest called the Echoes of War. This is a kill quest in Naxxramas and you need to do it in order to buy any tier if you do get it to drop. The raid starts off a lot easier than I was expecting. I don't know why, but I was expecting a really difficult time. But maybe because people are so geared, it doesn't feel so bad. Thanks to the Seal of Dawn, the numbers you end up hitting feel more like Wrath of the Lich King expansion than Classic, but it's really fun. There is zero chance I'm going to be anywhere near the top damage, but I am here for one thing, and one thing only, tier 3. Bosses kind of melt, and I don't know why I expected the Classic version of Nax to be any different than the Wrath of the Lich King version either, but it's practically the same in every single way. The loot wasn't on Master Loot, and I can see how much gear's dropping already, damn. But I pass on it all because they're the rules, until the raid leader decides to roll it out. In fact, we for some reason end up wiping on trash. I guess spiders really are that deadly. We end up taking on the mother of spiders, Maxiana, and she shoots people to the wall in webs, summons little spider hatchlings, and is just, well, a big freaking spider. But we kill her easily, and then my tier gloves drop, and my best in slot trinket for the Nax phase, the Kiss of the Spider. I was the only one that put a soft reserve on this, so this item is definitely mine. It basically gives me a mini bloodlust at 20% attack speed for 15 seconds, that is insane. Then while we are clearing trash, the tier braces for warriors rolled out. I roll a 30 as Mokro rolls a 27, and we win our first bit of tier 3 gear. However, it's not the most visible out of the set, but it's still one item down out of a potential 9, and one piece of the set. After we kill Hagon much later on, he drops plenty of my tier belts, and with not much competition, it's an easy high 96 roll. But Mokro once again beats me by 1. Luckily that 2 belts dropped. As we make our way further into the depths of the necropolis, not much loot for me just yet, but I have obtained some tanking gear and some sanctified pieces, but not really much else. One of my favourite bosses in this raid is Loveby, the mushroom boss as I like to call him. You hit these spores which end up giving you like a 100% crit rate, and it feels so satisfying. He's still got a lot of HP to make up for the buff, and with some undergeared people he does take a while to kill. Once again, none of my tier drops from this guy, so this might take a while for me to actually get the set. We take on Patchwork as we approach the final bosses of the raid, and here I'm hoping and praying for them sweet shoulder pads to drop. Patchwork is a simple tank and spank boss, and he's always fun to just pop off and try and do as much damage as you can, where I found myself right at the bottom and we kill Patchwork. I check and the desecrated pauldrons do drop, so there is a chance. Mokro has been my nemesis so far, rolling on every single item I've needed, and he's as undergeared as me. The shoulder pads are rolled out, Mokro instantly rolls a 63 as I roll a 46, and I lose yet another item to this hunter. I ended up wanting to buy the shoulders off him, which you can't do in this version. I know, I did forget. And what did I also forget? That the shoulders can drop off multiple bosses. So when we do kill another boss, they drop again, and me and Mokro get a pair each anyway. Perfect. The last boss is a mighty lich Kel'Thuzad, and he's got a couple of abilities like mind control, freezing frost bolts, and melee just don't want to stack and you gotta spread. Towards his death, he summons Nerubians to join the fight, and they start slaughtering people, and that actually does start to happen. We start to lose most of our raid, and he's really low, Kel'Thuzad. Chaos started to ensure, and I tried to do as much damage as I can, but my damage is pretty shit. I just have to hope we can survive the onslaught coming our way. Looks like the remainder of us alive are stable, and we use cooldowns to bring down the Lich. Beating Naxxramas, Andy drops a tier ring, and a necklace that I really wanted, but I didn't soft reserve it. Now I have quite a few tier pieces in my bags, like the braces, the belts, boots, and of course I got the shoulders. So that's 4 items in total, so I can't be mad. We also got a one-handed weapon called the Castigator and a crossbow, putting our item level above 900. Then the ring is rolled out. Oxhorn rolls 100, and I roll after, and I roll 100 too. We have a gentleman's agreement in place where we're gonna re-roll the item to see who shall get the ring. And he beats me with a 36 as I roll a crappy 23. Then as I sit on the throne of Naxxramas, I realise I've still got such a long way to go. After purchasing the required items that you need to even craft your tier 3 in the first place and turning in the quest, I can speak to Corfax, who now sells me my Dreadnought gear. Pretty pricey some of the materials, but nothing too unreasonable. And we buy ourselves the Dreadnought shoulders, the Dreadnought belt, the Dreadnought reuse, and the Dreadnought rifts, giving us nearly 1000 gear score. Full set of our tier. Mokro decides to message me gloating about how he got 6 pieces once more. but I'm really happy for him. Turns out he didn't do the quest, so he is now locked from getting his gear for a week. Poor guy. But we do have that 4 set giving us some extremely powerful effect, and all we can do is keep going forward. Now his World of Warcraft raid system is only once a week. I'm kind of stuck in between what I can do, as I just can't farm out this gear in one go. So I decided to try and go and get as many upgrades as I can. First I wanted to go to Zul'Gurub, and on my way I murder every single gnome and dwarf I come across, regardless of level. I do not discriminate. If it's red, it's dead. Now the 2 mounts I can drop from here, I was really interested in. I even was going to soft reserve the raptor, as everyone soft reserves a tiger usually. So as we're killing the boss Bloodlord Mandikar, guess what dropped? Yeah, the raptor. And with nobody having a soft reserve on it, it's free to roll out. No freaking way. Let's hope I can win it. Everybody rolls, someone rolls a high 92, and I roll a 46, meaning I lose a rare mount that I could have had if I just went with my gut. I was kicking myself over and over all day about this, but what can you do? I tried my hands at another Karazhan Crypts, a group that I'd already progressed through a little bit, but they were struggling with some things and people were leaving, just so I can try and snap some more upgrades. But unfortunately for me, I could see why this group was struggling. They was arguing a lot about loot and everything from the get-go, and what is or not a tank weapon. But I just go in and do the fight anyways. Turns out the tank really can't keep aggro at all. I waited a little bit before going ham with my abilities because shaman tanks are really good. The rogue runs in, gets one shot, then I've got aggro with full world buffs and my CD's up, and yeah, we are so dead. This is one of them groups that I will leave before I get saved. In my downtime, I now continue with a quest to unlock the Scarlet Enclave area, a new place with a quest apparently that I need to be doing weekly. I'm having a pretty rough time killing the siege commanders, but not a program shows up to help me out. After we manage to do this, we get our quest for the new raid, the Scarlet Enclave. Now the weekly quest requires us to own 4 items that are tagged with the effect Scarlet Uniform. Now these are high in demand because of this, so the prices are pretty crazy. But I end up just buying the 4 pieces I need. Then when you are near the town, you can use your Scarlet Insignia to put on a disguise, turning the enemies into friendly. That's when I get a mad nostalgia hit, because this is basically where you quest as a Death Knight in the starting zones in Wrath of the Lich King. We meet the blacksmith who then gives us a weekly quest. This quest asks for a certain item each week, but you can just loot the crate next to him, you put any item into the crate, and you donate it to him. Turn it in and you receive a Scarlet Jump Box. In here is something very valuable to me. A light forged iron, something we're definitely going to need for our legendary in the future. With 15 coins, 2 righteous orbs, and a justalized chalice fragment, which when you obtain 3 of them, you can get a tier from the new raid. All in all, well worth doing. And here is how our gear is looking. 79 item level, fully epic with Clobber Club and the Castigator, 4 set of our Naxxramas and an insane trinket, but we gotta keep it going. I then finally got around to completing an AQ40 run, where the end boss is the old gun Seafun. No difficulty is in this raid apart from a lot of walking if you don't have a bug mount, but it's just very easy and a nice chill time. The axe once again does drop that dark edge of insanity, but some fully decked out hunter takes it. I don't know why, maybe it is really good for them. I was a little bit salty, I won't lie. But I do end up getting another tier item, the intact Printronium. Well, the leader accidentally gave me 2, so I traded one back. I could have Hearthstone and ran away, but I'm not like that, don't worry. So with that item, we can turn it in and obtain the Conqueror's Helmet, giving us a bug looking set and an awful looking helmet. I'm sorry if you like this. It's actually better for us to now not use the tier 3 shoulders currently and go for the most damage with these shoulders. But this now puts us at a healthy 1020 gear score and ready for the final raid of Season of Discovery. My friend Trock asked me if I wanted to go to a guild run with him and it was really sudden. I decided to go and just experience it as much as I can. I accept a summon to the Plaguelands and I take my first step into this brand new raid. I didn't know what to expect, but I honestly didn't expect what I witnessed. It instantly gives me off Mount Hujal vibes, which is an outdoor raid too. We arrive at the first boss Balnazar as the leader explains the tactics or briefly, and I'm kind of the only one I think that is pretty clueless, as I was so unprepared to be here right now. Then the fight starts. There's a lot going on, and I'm doing good damage considering. Ads are about and interrupting them is a priority, as they cast a fear on people. Then Balnazar flies in the air phase 2 like a Nixie does, and you gotta kill ads on the floor, while you got 3 sort of light things as well. At this point, I'm genuinely clueless to what's going on. I'm just going off my own instinct, trying my best to do damage even though that's fell off a cliff by now, and stay alive. We lose a few people during the intermission, but then Balnazar returns to the ground. We're starting to be overwhelmed by ads, and it isn't long before one by one, we all start to fall, and we suffer a wipe very close to a kill. With an understanding of what to do now, we try again. I immediately get one shot by an ad, fantastic. Then I spend the whole fight dead on the floor. Floor point of view once again. The fight goes the same while he gets really low, but the raid starts to wipe again. Tanks die, healers die, the boss is melting, but thankfully for us, you win this battle at like 3%, so we managed to succeed on our first boss of the Scarlet Enclave. He drops a very, very powerful sword called Deception that I was once again going to SR, but I didn't. Once again, I do want it bad, as well as some warrior tier braces. Probably not going to do any loot though till a bit later on. The next part of the raid is just you going around killing ads, and a lot of ads. You get these little crap ads too, the Praetorians, who do a whirlwind that stun you and can one-shot you. There was just so much trash in between boss 1 and boss 2. But this then sets up boss 2, Beatrix, who you was questing for earlier. This fight feels pretty epic. You are completely surrounded by all the NPCs. It really feels like you and your raid's last stand. You've got to absorb meteors from the sky and once again kill a lot of trash. Then Beatrix joins the fight, and you've also got to do some kind of like Frogger event where you move in and out of the soldiers walking forward and slashing their swords. We lose a few people, but we do bring her down pretty easily in first try too. Then the Scarlet Crusade start fleeing as everything's going up in flames, and she drops a legendary ruined Lightforged blade. This is to start that quest. Now when this is rolled out, I was thinking about this, but considering it is a guild run and they took me as just kind of a last thing, I decided to pass and not roll and let their guild utilise it. The next boss and the third boss is Silistraza, a proto drake. Yeah, I didn't expect a dragon to be in this raid, but here we are. She's a unique encounter as she drops circles, and if you get it, you gotta run to the edge of the wall to place down the fire. You don't stand in front of her, and Crimson Flare, you gotta use a cooldown. She does a lot of damage. Don't get hit by the fireballs, and also kill her little whelps. Sorry little guys. She also flies in the sky and dive bombs you. A pretty fun fight all around. Once you bring her to 0, she actually doesn't die. She is reborn as a different coloured proto drake. We eventually all start taking way too much damage and we wipe. But the raid has only been out for like a week or so at this point, and people are still figuring out the bosses. In fact, nearly a whole hour later, we're still progressing this boss. We just really struggled with practically every mechanic at this point. But I'm here to help, so I just keep plodding away. With the raid time now really being 8-2 by just one boss, the guild makes a call to leave the dragon and maybe come back a different time. But then we rolled out some loot, and first up was my braces that I put a soft reserve into. Naturally, I don't win them, but the experience is what counts, right? Not the loot, right? Moving on to the next boss was Alexei the Beast Lord and his trusty bear companion. Unfortunately, they've both got to go, so that's what I'm here to do. The strategy is pretty weird. The range stand on top of a roof, and then we'll split into 2 groups either side of the fence. One's got to kill Alexei, the other's got to kill Sir Donald. We do wipe a few times while everyone's trying to get the bearings and figure out what is going on. And this raid definitely has a ramp up in difficulty compared to everything I've done in Season of Discovery up until this point. In fact, I kind of figured out how we can kill bosses. On our next attempt, when we are doing tactics and things are going fine, tanks are swapping them perfectly, we're dodging most of the stuff on the floor, everybody's alive, until I stand in something or in front of the boss and I get cleave dying. But by me being dead on the floor once more, just like the first boss, we actually kill the boss. Third boss of the raid down. With really only a short amount of time left in my first raid, roughly 10 minutes, we went to take on the pirate Mason the Echo. And while we do get him to his last 25%, we ended up hitting the enrage timer, and he swiftly decimates our raid, bringing my first experience in the Scarlet Enclave to an abrupt end. But 3 bosses was way more than I was expecting, so I'm happy that I got to experience it so early on. From here on out, it was just weekly raiding, trying to get gear and start the legendary quest line. I went and did Naxxramas, aiming to get the helmet tier token, but it just didn't drop. My legs are then rolled out from Low of the Bee, and I lose them again. And guess who is in this raid once more to take them? Yeah, Mokro. Damn you, Hunter. But my chest piece did drop, and that gives us yet another piece of our tier 3 set. And then after killing the Lich, I won the Might of Menenful too. This is a pretty powerful weapon, and I wanted to try out Two-Handed Fury Warrior. The downside to this is I have to level up weapon skills. Lucky for us, there's a spot in the Blasted Lands where you can do this sort of easily. As I'm on my way there, I encounter a gnome mage being boosted. Usually I'd just let this go, but it's a gnome mage and I can't let you live peacefully. So like a lamb to the slaughter, I go and murder all of the Alliance players. I hate gnome mages, sorry not sorry. With the weekly reset, I could get my Scarlet jump boxes and keep building up the Lightforged iron. I would then start raiding Scarlet Enclave with my guild weekly, making progress and bringing down the Proto Drake after a few attempts. But then we got absolutely destroyed by Mason the Echo, thanks to a few deaths and an offline that couldn't be helped. We hit the enrage timer with just a few seconds to spare, and no matter how well they tried to finish the boss off, we just fell short. But I did manage to get myself some braces from the new raid that are just way too overpowered for us not to use. at least while I'm raiding anyway. But the end goal is still that full Dreadnought gear. And that's all it came down to. Logging in each week, or as WoW players call it, raid logging. There wasn't much room for progression for me right now outside of these 2 raids. And that was my ultimate goal, so that's just what I did. Maxiana ended up dropping my tier gloves that I soft reserves that another warrior did too. And with only just 1 pair, I have a 50-50 chance of getting them. Most of our raid died on the horsemen, and now I'm just playing 2-handed for the moment. I really wanted the Sword of Inquisition to drop, and it does once more. I then roll a massive 94, securing myself the sword, and it's a really nice item, I must say. Loath the Bee then drops 2 of my leggings that I've soft reserved, so we get yet another tier piece. Then Saffron time. Now she has a chance to drop a tier token. It can be any tier token and it's random, but she drops the gloves. This means I now have a 100% chance to get my gloves, and that's exactly what happens. We now have 6 out of 9 total pieces, I believe. My helmet also finally dropped this raid, but I wasn't the only one on it. A low geared hunter was, and I roll a 3. Yeah, 3. Oh my lord. I can't be too disappointed as I did get 2 tier pieces, but this helmet would end up being a curse to me. After buying all the materials I needed once more, I went and bought my tier items. This was the Dreadnought Tassets and the Dreadnought Grips. Now completing most of our set to look pretty awesome, except we still got this stupid bug helmet. When we equipped our sword, we've now got nearly 1.1k gear score too. And with a new sword comes standing in one place, leveling up weapon skill again. I met a cool dude doing this all called Crippy Dippy, who actually has seen my videos, so I'm glad I could take all the aggro and allow him to level up his skills much easier. We spoke a lot about warriors and WoW, and it made this awfully boring part a little bit more pleasant. In fact, I then showed him about invasions and talked to him about seals, and I tried to explain to him the best way to go about catching up as I could. But we encountered another disgusting creature in our travels, a gnome mage called Swaleezy. He tried to flee, but 2 warriors on him, he was screwed, and I put him back into the ground. This then started like a mini war between us and another warrior and a mage. As long as I kept getting Swaleezy, I didn't care how many times I died doing it. Another week flew by, and that means another jump box, so bringing our total Lightfall Giant up to about 4 now. This means I can also buy another Scarlet Enclave tier item. Not that I really want them, but the tier set bonus is just way too powerful not to get. With another weekly Scarlet Enclave to go to, we wipe on Beatrix with 423 HP left. 1 attack, 1 dot, 1 anything would have killed her. Thought this was too funny to not show it. But because of this raid, I finally received the item that for some reason I didn't show me getting. But there was no competition, and that's a Ruined Lightford Blade. The start of my legendary questline. Now for the first time ever, I killed all the previous bosses with enough time to see the further bosses. Scarlet Enclave is an 8 boss raid, and so far I've only done 5. It's pretty cool that you're in literally Scarlet Monastery now as you take the fight to them. You've got some interesting NPC battles where you have to dodge yellow circles that I naturally fail at and die, big shot. The next boss though is Council, where it's a reanimated Vicious, Herod and Doan. I love the theme of this place. Now I know what you're going to say. Antijax, why are you dead again?
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way.
Hear me out. You see the lava that's filling up the room? Yeah, it crashed my computer. No, I'm not kidding. I swear to you. For some reason, my PC decided to just blow up this raid and I had to reset it. And when I did, I was dead. The fight is simple though. You spread him out, Malik hit Vicious, and that is really about it. Stay on him, kick him until he's dead, rinse and repeat. Luckily we kill it first try, and that is where the raid ended for the night. With all this raiding and consumables and me not playing much outside of it, I was becoming broke, down to my last pennies of gold. It took me this long to realise there is an extra rank of Heroic Strike too that I've not even learned. Yeah, oopsie. But then I get a weapon given to me from a previous raid of the Enclave, Duplicity, a brilliant one-handed sword. And one that I will definitely use now. And I'm looking forward to going back to dual wielding. As the weeks passed, I would be in search of that Dreadnought helmet over and over, week after week, and it just never dropped. I would see the same helmet drop 3 times off the same boss, and I was really getting fed up at Naxxramas. However, I did end up getting the Desecrated Ring, which when we turn it in, quite literally gives us nearly our last piece. All we need is that godforsaken helmet. My gear was becoming incredible. Damage was going insane. I was raiding weekly, but I could not be happy until I got rid of this awful bug helmet. Week after week just kept passing, and the only way I could get Lightforged Iron for my legendary was from these crates. I wasn't even high up on the list to get them, and now I was on 5. I was getting frustrated. I would take it out on these awful Alliance members too. I put them in a chokehold, ganking anybody that would come through trying to quest. until this little gnome warrior comes up to me and cheers at me. Then they kneel before me, and while I appreciate their respect, as soon as she starts to dance, I realise what this creature actually is. It's a gnome. No way they can live. And me and Leofa brutally murder my fellow warrior. 6 weeks go past or something stupid since I've been trying to get this helmet. Leofa and APH have actually made their own run to get splinters for their legendary, and they hard reserved the helmet for me just in case it actually drops. But it won't. I've got no faith at this point. I got so sick of seeing it not drop that when I kill Thaddeus and I actually see it, I am screaming inside. It's over. It's finally over. I've done it. With that item, that is my full set of Dreadnought Tier 3 done. And that is what I did this Zero to Hero journey for. And in a fitting way, I die on a boss again. And I get floor point of view as a fully naked orc with no gear. But I'm too happy to be brought down by this. Also, special shout out to Zamzam. This shaman came in, conquered, got so much loot, even though he was all full geared. I told Leo for an APH to bring in him, and I'm glad I did. My necklace is emerald out. It's insane. I've got 1 roll on it. A hunter has got 3 rolls on it. I roll at high 96 just to get beat by a 98. Well, that does hurt. I was so close. I don't care because I got my helmet. I raced to Light's Hope Chapel and bought every single material I needed before buying the Dreadnought horns. Week after week of raiding, with no helmet, being so close, and I finally have every single Dreadnought item, and I look insane. I am so happy, but this video just can't end here. There is still a legendary weapon to get. And how can I say this was a Zero to Hero if I don't get it? While my gear at this point is pretty nuts, and I was really thinking about ending my time on Season of Discovery here, because I technically have got my favourite armour, I just can't. So let's get that Corrupted Ashbringer. Alright, with that being the final step now, it was out of my hands with how long it's going to take to get. While I did raid weekly as much as I could, and I did my boxes every single week, I was still time gated by these Lightforged items. The guild started to make really good progress, and we made it to the 7th boss of the Scarlet Enclave raid, Lillian Voss. The human version of her though. This was probably one of the easiest fights in here. She just has you run out with some debuffs, stand still with a debuff, or move with a debuff. You just gotta pay attention to what poison you have. We do kill her, but I once again have floor point of view, and why is this happening all the time lately? But this just leaves a final showdown with the man who wields a legendary weapon himself. I must say the lighting and the stage for this final boss fight felt epic once more. It's just this cathedral but with a nice lift. It gave me a little bit of a chill as you take on the Grand Crusader Calderon, the final boss of Season of Discovery and the leader of the Scarlet Crusade. Now I have no idea what to do apart from what was told to me, and apparently the first phase is one of the hardest. You just gotta look away so you don't become blinded, and Rage must set down fire puddles at either side. Yeah, my PC definitely blew up a few times during this fight too. Our first pull went okay, but we was absolutely overwhelmed by the sheer amount of ads, and we died. Then as you re-enter the raid, the whole theme is changed. Everything's bright red. The skies are burning, and I just loved all these touches. It was just beautiful. This boss was no pushover, and we would wipe quite a lot in here. While we did get him lower and lower, the raid night would come to an end, and we still didn't get the kill on the last boss. Another week passed, and another iron for me, bringing a total to 7 out of 12. I was so close at this point, but something happened. Blizzard announced the ending of Season of Discovery. No more content would be released going forward as they prioritised something else with Classic. Not long after this, my guild announced it wouldn't know how many more raids they had left in them. I still was nowhere near done with the quest line. If I was going to keep getting weekly boxes, it would take me another 5 weeks just to get enough for that stage. I was pretty desperate now at this point, and you might be wondering why I'm not using my Dreadnought gear. And that's just because the Scarlet Enclave tier is just much better. So I have it on when I've got to kill stuff. One of the quests now for the Ashbringer had us visit a prisoner in Naxxramas, the master craftsman Amarian. By bringing him some food, he will talk to us about the Ashbringer. This is when he gives us that next part to get them 12 ingots, and that is what I gotta do. Which brings me to our latest reset. I asked my guild if it was okay to start getting some ingots now, which they said I could get the remaining ones I needed, which was fantastic. The raid had started to receive plenty of nerfs now from when I first entered, so it started to make it a breeze really. I say that while having floor point of view on some fights still. I don't know what went on with me, I just became a really bad raider all of a sudden. Now the next part of this questline is incredibly expensive. The total comes around to 8,000 gold plus with all the materials you will need. But Slobbin Hood, a guildie, he's got a gold cap on Season of Discovery and he's offering to help most of the guildies with the materials for the Ashbringer, which makes him a lifesaver, truly a MVP. I guess because Sod's ending too, he doesn't really mind about his gold anymore. So I go to his ult in Thunderbluff mid-raid to get all the materials needed, and it's an incredible amount, and I'm truly grateful for the help here. because honestly, I might still be doing this to this day if it wasn't for this hunter. Once I receive my 12th and final ingot from Lillian Voss, it's time to go back to Naxxramas. While the raid is going on, trust me, it's for a reason. We've got to speak to the craftsman who gives me yet another quest. He wants me to meet him back at the Scarlet Enclave raid and find the Radiant Forge there. Once I go back to the raid and find the blacksmith in the forge, I really don't have time to catch up on all of the lore as much as I wanted to, as we're about to pull the last boss. So I make sure I've done everything I can and I accept the summon. The next part of the chain is to defeat this last boss. And while I tried my hardest to stay alive this time on the Ashbringer phase, I just don't get healed enough. This is a transition phase and the fight becomes much easier after this. But once more, I get a floor point of view. I am so sorry. And it's such a shame they don't res me either, as I really wanted to keep fighting. The fight is then took outside, where you just rinse and repeat the same mechanics, with a final push being to destroy the Ashbringer once and for all. After we do this, Grand Crusader Calderon falls, and we've completed Scarlet Enclave. Well, I witnessed it, I guess. After doing this, we loot the boss, and we get the hilt of the Ashbringer. We then equip the hilt, and we summon the will of the Ashbringer, so we can start his tasks. And the journey for the mighty weapon doesn't end here. We go back to the Master Craftsman and watch as he attempts to reforge the blade. And as you can see on my back it's pretty broken, but he knows what he's doing, and once he's crafted it, we speak to the Will of the Ashbringer once more, who tells us we must go back to Light's Hope Chapel. Now I mess up here, as I'm sure many of you probably did do. Once you turn in this quest in Light's Hope Chapel, the Emblem of Darkness, you get the Emblem of the Ashbringer. This allows us to reassemble the blade. As soon as I do this, I equip it, but the guards beat the shit out of me and kill me. Fantastic. I'll then leave town to go and talk to the Will again, but even then I'm not far enough for the guards' liking, and they just won't leave me alone and keep beating down on me. The next step on our travels was Moonglade, a druid place, somewhere an orc warrior usually doesn't find themselves, in search of a certain somebody. Now while I'm lost, I encounter two random druids. A chicken comes up to me and blows me a kiss. I show him my weapon, basically threatening him, go away. Then over comes a cat too. Now I'm a bit freaked out and I tell them no, but they start doing things to me. What the hell is wrong with these druids? And well, even that doesn't stop these absolute animals. Alright, get me out of here. After finally finding the woman I need, she then sends me off to Winterspring. And thank God I can be away from Moonglade. I'm never going back. I've got two quests to do now. A kill and a collect quest. Taking myself miles away from the competition, I go on a long run away from the main area, to where I think it'll be quiet. Yeah, turns out an Alliance Paladin thought the same thing and doesn't want me looting his supplies, and practically one-shots me, giving me a long corpse run. Lovely. He eventually moves along, leaving me with this spot all to myself. I just had to keep running back and forth from camp, looting crates of Moonglade supplies until we had 15. I then hit the hay for the night before the next morning, bright and early, I continued with the next part. This required me killing elite dragonkins to get 10 glands. And these glands didn't exist, I'm telling you. I slaughtered plenty of these guys, and I didn't have food, so it made it a right pain in my arse. I don't know why I don't buy food, especially when I'm playing a warrior. I do it in every version of WoW. But after around 30 minutes of killing, I get all 10 glands and I head back to Everlook, as a crow then takes us to Hyjal. Now I know what you're wondering. Antijax, why are you dead again? It's because these trees hit bloody hard, that's why. I had a right bad time trying to get 12 pieces of this tree. The elites would just hit me really hard, and if I didn't have cooldowns they could kill me. Luckily, I didn't have to slaughter all of them, as I could loot them from the floor too. Once I had all the branches, we could light a bonfire. This would now allow us to heat up the Ashbringer in the flames of the World Tree, before we would have to take it to the sacred pools where we'd quench it, cooling it down. After doing all this, we would then receive the epic Corrupted Ashbringer, a very usable high-end weapon, and it looks insane. But there is a final step to make this epic weapon legendary, and we approach it. We now must find forgiveness in order to try and make this blade not as cursed as it was. We enter the Scarlet Monastery and we're greeted like a king. They're usually hostile NPCs of this dungeon, bow down in my presence. They turn and face and show their respect to the wielder of the Ashbringer, as we face the betrayer Mograine, who stabbed his father in the back. He tells us we can command the Scarlet Crusade now, but his father returns, Mograine, but something is not right. He's gone cuckoo and kills his son for forgiveness. The Ashbringer is now not listening to us. What can we do? Is it over? Did we fail because he killed his son? I head back to the Plaguelands to say of what I witnessed before the Ashbringer shows up, telling me that I must face Mograine now. And a portal appears taking me into Naxxramas, where I stand before the spirit of Mograine on his steed, ready for a final showdown. I charge straight in, no shits given, as I don't even know what to do. My health is disappearing faster than the speed of the light, and I instantly die. Oh, I died that many times during this fight that I went and bought world buffs and consumables, something I've never done, taking my gold down to 10, because this was bloody hard and I was bloody bad. After using all my world buffs I had and my last consumables, I wouldn't move out of Shadow Cleave, which was a instant one-shot ability, and I would die. It got that bad, I kept buying more and more world buffs, taking gold from my other characters just to fund it, as it felt impossible to do without him. So the gist of the fight is this. He has a protective barrier that you can only break by killing a shade of Naxxramas. After this blows up, you've got a 30-second window to do as much damage as you can to him, all while taking damage from him. AoE, that damn ability Shadow Cleave, that if you're in front of it, you die, and I died a lot to it. There are healing orbs scattered around the room to help you fight this boss, but it's quite a long fight, so you need to buckle up. Make sure you can use the orbs when you needed, and be as careful as you can. I slowly but surely whittle him down, as I believe the fight doesn't end at 0% but at around 20 to 30, and with him being at 50, as long as I don't mess up, I should have it. I'm doing enough damage and I'm healing well. Until more mechanics start to happen. Yeah, more mechanic. The lower he goes, the more horsemen join the fight, and they cast their raid abilities like meteors, shadow patches on the floor, and shoot holy bolts at you. And I get smashed with one before instantly dying to a melee, and my rage was starting to flow. I would get so close each time. One simple switch off, one moment of lapse in my judgment, and Mograine would one-shot you. In fact, watching this back, look, the little shit cheats. He turns and faces me to do his one-shot. He's not supposed to do that, screw you. I would be doing this for hours, and I just didn't learn my lesson. Shadow Cleave will kill you. But I focused up, this was it. No gold left, out of world boss, I couldn't afford any more mistakes. I had to take down Mograine. I'm a warrior. I started off back in Juratar with nothing. I've cleared every raid, made many friends, all bringing me to this. The best weapon in the game, and a solo boss fight. I finally bring in low, I'm smashing him in the face with the Ashbringer, keeping my Sunder armor stacks high while making sure I avoid every bit of damage I can. I'm dodging the Shadow Cleaves with precision, and I make sure I'm healing off the golden orbs when I can. We bring him to 30% and he charges into the center, as all of the horsemen then start doing something to him. I see all the shades targeting the Scarlet Commander Mograine, slowing him down. So this is where I have to intervene. As one falls, so do the chains on him. These ads still blow up, doing hard damage to me. If I die now, it's surely over. I'm very low, so I make sure I move away from all the AoE stuff at about 15%, and I grab myself a healing orb, and I head to the center, where Mograine's son reaches his father, and then the horsemen disperse, as he begs his father for forgiveness, and we turn in the final quest to obtain the best weapon in Season of Discovery, the legendary Corrupted Ashbringer. What a fight, what a journey. Our gear is now fantastic, our gear score incredible, got the best weapon in the game, and I can say we started off as a 0, but we ended up as a hero. We've got full tier 3, which is exactly what I wanted, and the Corrupted Ashbringer. I've had highs and lows on this journey, but it all ended with me completing the challenge. Season of Discovery might be ending, but the journeys never do. So like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next World of Warcraft video.